What's up, book readers? This is The Great Hunt, the full book recap for Book 2 of The Wheel of Time. My name's Nerdy.
And I'm Clarus.
And this is the Nerdy Wordy Book Club. We'll be right back after this theme song. That is right. Welcome back to the Nerdy, the Wordy Book Club. My name is Nerdy. I don't know, I'm re-introing again. Clarus, we're at the end of Book 2. We actually did it. We've done, this is our 10th episode of this podcast book club thing, whatever it is.
Whatever we just thrust ourselves into. We're like, yeah, this 14 book series, let's do it.
How you feeling so far?
Good. I wanted to start on the next book this week, but I had to be like, nope, that's not the point.
We have said that we're not going to start the next book until after the recap episodes.
Yeah.
So we've been kind of sitting all week just being like, so can we do the recap episode so that we can start the next novel?
Yeah, no, actually.
I want to say a big hello to everyone live in our chat here on YouTube. We do stream this show live on YouTube every Friday morning at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. So if you are watching this later on YouTube, or if you're catching this on the podcast feed around the interwebs, wherever you download your podcasts, I hope that you'll come check it out live someday. We have a good time. Also, in addition to that, I want to say a huge, massive, enormous thank you to our mods. Y'all keep us safe from spoilers, and the internet is dark and full of those.
All right. That's not what I was expecting. All right. No, we have not actually bought book 4 onward. We only have the next book, the third book.
We need to do that.
So we need to order the next ones. I keep forgetting.
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, I bought the first 3 books. That'll keep us going for a while. And it has been, like, we're in March.
I mean, we'll be able to get those books within 5 weeks.
Yeah, we'll be fine.
Yeah.
We'll be fine. I just, didn't even think about it. But yes, huge, big thank you to our mods.
And thank you to Dwayne Swab for joining the Nargs of the Nerd Table. Welcome in.
Narg.
Thanks for becoming a Narg.
Hell yes, we appreciate the heck out of you. You have fun emotes now to use.
So this is about Das Great Hunt. Now that we finish it, now that you've had a week to process it, digest it, have a bowel movement, how are you feeling about the Great Hunt?
Hopefully more than one between last week and
for me, yes. For you, questionable.
Well, thank you as well for becoming a narc of the nerd table. So I think starting off, a lot of people have said, at least that I have noticed, that this is their favorite book or one of their favorites. It's obviously not everybody's favorite. And so I want to know, did you like this book better than the first one?
Oh, that's interesting.
Matthew, thank you for becoming a narc of the nerd table for 2 months.
Yeah, I don't know. Okay. I don't know. I think that there's a lot of Brian, thank you for joining the Nargs.
Thank you for becoming a narc.
I think there's a lot in the first book that is it's just a little bit simpler, right? And it's not pulled in so many directions. I think that there's a lot in the first book, it's particularly around Moiraine and Lan, who I have a really strong connection to, partially because of the show. And they kind of disappear for chunks of this book. I think a lot of characters disappear for chunks of this book. So I think that once I understand a little bit more where some of the concepts introduced in this book are headed, that'll be an easier question to answer. Right now, I think I would say that I liked the first book more. Okay,
you and I are then on the same page.
Yeah, I just think there's some really solid stuff in the first book. The throne stuff with Morghese is just so wonderful. I really like the way that it ends. I like a lot of the interplay between the characters.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I agree though with your point that the Great Hunt I might like better later on in the series because of all the work that it does.
Yeah.
I think for the world. You know what I mean?
100%.
I really, really like the first book, and I do really like the second book, but there's a lot going on, and I do think that the end of this book was so wild that I think that it sticks out fondly in a lot of people's minds because of that. And I think my perspective on it is going to change the more that we read. But yeah, I was it was interesting to me because I know a lot of people are like, oh yeah, and then book, like, we were on book one and they're like, oh yeah, and then book two.
Mm-hmm.
But I have to say, I think like in this moment at least, I enjoyed book one. Like a fraction more.
Yeah, I just think book one's tighter for me, and I'm a big like I have an editing brain, and so I just think like for me, stories that feel a little bit more concise, a little bit more follow through tend to work better for me. I think that The Great Hunt bounces around sometimes in ways that are not as beneficial to my brain in terms of what I enjoy in storytelling. And I found some of the Portal Zone stuff a little bit very suddenly introduced, and then the fact that they function differently every time we interact with them was a little bit jarring to me at first. And like I think that like the further I get away from it, the more I like it. But in the reading of it the first time, I had that kind of reaction of like, okay, so we have the Portal Zones work different ways. So basically, like, they can just get around any way that they need to. And things in The Great Hunt started to feel a little bit more convenient at times than I wanted them to. And I'm curious where that heads and what that gets into in terms of later storylines that these little nuggets that we've gotten have set up. But those little nuggets don't necessarily feel super connected right now. And we have some questions from chat in our Discord. Thank you to everyone who dropped questions in that Discord channel.
And big thank you to Monkey, who went through and made sure there were no spoilers.
And so I'm curious how those things are parsed out, and if those things are made to make more sense later, how I'm going to look back on the second book.
100%.
I'm not, and it's not negative. I really liked it. I think the first book is a really solid introduction to this world, and I just really enjoyed it. So
I'm on the same page.
I am curious. I wanted to ask you before we get into everything that we're going on. How much do you think I stepped in it last week with my Bornhold conversation?
Stepped in it. I don't think so. I don't think anyone is like.
I know. I want to acknowledge it. I was like factually wrong in it, so I want to acknowledge. Last week I did say that like Bornhold did things that he just didn't do, and the reason why the White Cloaks do capture Perrin and Egwene, I was incorrect. I thought that they had a more active hand in it than they did in the books, and that is fair. I think that part of that is, and as our chat has gotten into a couple of times, I think the show versus book conversation is a little bit tough.
Yeah.
Partially because the show is functionally different than the book in a lot of ways.
100%.
And has like my memory of the events of the story, I don't think is as clean as it would be if I was just reading the books.
Yeah, because you have two different versions of events that kind of like converge.
Yeah, and the situation in the books where they kidnap Egwene and Perrin is much more aggressive and
unprovoked.
Justified compared to the book version, where two White Cloaks are killed, whereas in the show version they're just literally picked up off of the street because they saw them once before, which is just a very like, it's not a great reason to kidnap someone out of a group of people. And so I do think that this is one of those instances where like being a show watcher who's becoming a book reader is affecting my like sequence of events memory.
Yeah. It's also like Valda versus Bornhold. Like they're different people, but it almost feels like the show is trying to service them as one.
Well, I don't know. Bornhold wasn't introduced until the second book. So like we don't we've only met the questioners at this point.
Unless maybe Bornhold was the guy. Remember when we met Valda the first time?
Yeah, the guy who's headed south. Yeah. I think that's him.
That must be, that would make a lot of sense.
The elderly white gentleman with the like short white beard.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to acknowledge that. I think that is absolutely what happened in my brain. Hold your fire. Thank you for finally catching a live stream. I'm glad you could.
Thanks for being here.
So let's dive in to some of these questions because there are some really fun ones. We're going to start at the top with Nate Moe. Nate Moe says, what scenes do you think can't be cut from the show?
Here's the thing. We're going to list scenes that are absolutely essential and they will not be in the show. Just watch.
This is similar. Faisal Khan asked a similar question a little bit down. If they could pick 3 scenes from this book to make it to the show, relatively unchanged, which ones would you choose?
Yeah. So I This is kind of tough. Can I pick? Can I pick like the whole stuff with Perrin and Elias? I know it's not
from book 1.
Yeah. Can I please have
can.
that? Like, okay.
Can
thanks.
Perrin have something to do?
Yeah. Can Perrin have a reason to be there and exist, please?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I think I'm gonna use one of my slots for that because I think that this whole like wolf brother thing, especially in the show, is super vague. Like the wolf comes over and like licks his leg, and he's like, "What's going on?" You know, and I know Elias is gonna be in season 2, and so I'm hoping that we are going to get it.
Naranjan just commented that the Discord might be hard to find. I just dropped it in the chat, and I will have it in the description down below later. It's not in there right now.
Oh, good call. Yeah.
Sorry about that, Naranjan. But there is the link. Dakuna's on it as well. Thank you.
Thank you, guys. Thank you.
I think the Perrin Elias stuff is definitely needed, right? I know that we're getting Elias, so I hope that we get that. I think that a lot of people have been saying that they think that Elias and Huron will be mixed into one character.
Which I can understand.
We've talked about that in the past, and I think that will... I can see that happening.
Because, Huron, like, basically, like... his ability is basically just can be folded into this Wolf Brother stuff because it's...
I don't want to lose the ability, but at the same time, like, a show having a character be like, I smell violence that has happened, that's a tough one, right?
Yeah.
That's a tough... that is a tough thing to try and explain and visualize.
Yeah.
And if they do go that route and they do cast someone as Huron, that actor has that one line that he's going to have to say where he's going to have to sell the shit out of it. Because it's hard to buy when for an actor to be like, oh yeah, I smell violence.
Yeah. Yeah, that's going to be fun. A fun one.
Things in this book scenes that I don't think can be cut. Samby, thank you for that super chat.
Thank you for the super chat.
We are looking forward to book 3 as well.
One real quick thing, just in regards to the Discord link, the reason we do not have it like plastered publicly everywhere and that we tend to share it while we're live, our Discord has in the past been subject to some
racist raids.
Yeah, some like inappropriate things, and so that's why we don't just have the link publicly at all times. I do apologize. I know it makes that harder to find, but we're just trying to protect the community. So I hope you can understand.
We had a pretty bad bad troll attack
a while ago
in
the Discord. Yeah, it was not fun.
We had to up his security and stuff. It was annoying.
Yes.
And now that we've said it out loud on the internet, it's gonna happen again. I think things that you can't cut would be Celine, right? I think that like Celine is going to have to be introduced in a way similar to the book. Although I do wonder, part of me wonders if we're going to get both versions of the portal stones that we got in the book. I think that the other world one is more important than the time jump one. So I feel like we'll probably get
I don't know how they do the time.
They just step out of the portal and it's been years. I think honestly, a lot of Flicker is going to get cut.
Yeah.
I think
so too.
I think Flicker is probably the most interesting concept in the book. I think that Flicker gets cut for cost.
Which sucks because it's super informative, especially to like what happens with Ingtar next.
Yeah.
And they're gonna have a tougher time, I think, justifying that. But I agree. I think Celine has to be there.
Bearsucker brings up a really interesting point about that, though. Celine only works with virginal innocent Rand. This is a Rand who has had sex.
We don't know that Celine only works with an innocent Rand.
Well, no, but like the idea that Rand is going to be like thrown off by her like thighs. You know what I mean? Like,
sure, yeah.
I'm not sure that I buy that.
Yeah, they are like Celine is going to have to literally function differently in the storytelling. Because, and here's the thing. It's very clearly, like, a magical kind of influence. Right? There's absolute, like, there's no way. And so...
When she touches him.
I feel like when she is near, she creates, like, a kind of fog.
No, but there is a specific thing where Robert Jordan writes... She touches him and then he changes.
100%.
Like that is
But it is also present when she is near.
But that is more I feel like that's him just being really attracted to her. Him like being swayed into doing what she wants is very much about physical contact. Cuz every single time it happens, Robert Jordan writes in that she touches him on the arm Like, it's very specifically done to make sure that, like, Rand will push and push and push back on what she's saying until she touches him, and then his will, like, completely bends to what she wants, right?
Yeah.
And so I think that, like, the physical touch part of it is still very valid. I think the, like, general, like, oh my god, she's wearing my shirt is just... it would come across as silly, considering we have watched Rand bone down twice. He boned down in the kitchen of his girlfriend's parents' inn. Yeah. Like, this is not a man who is... Not shy. Right?
Yeah. I want to say hello to the Dusty Wheel. They're saying that...
Hey, what's up, Dusty Wheel?
Selena has to function differently, and that we should be happy that Selena would function differently, because the book moments are, like, not great. And I do kind of agree with you there. I think that they're, like... I think that they feel a little silly, which is why I'm like, it has to be a spell, right? Like, it can't, like... There's no way that these three people are just, like... do not know how to function as human beings when Celine is nearby.
Well, and I think that there's an element of Rafe and his team are clearly very interested in having mystery boxes for the audience to be surprised by.
Yeah.
So I think that they'll make the Lanfear reveal, like, at least 15% more hidden, as opposed to when she showed up in the book and I was like, is this Lanfear?
Yeah. You think it's going to be less obvious?
I think it's going to be a little less obvious. CJ Clark, thank you for that super chat. CJ thinks that Perrin does everything Rand does in book 2, including Portal Stone-ish and Lanfear. The girls do book 2 and Matt and Rand do book 3. We haven't read book 3 yet, so I don't know what that could be.
But no, Perrin was married in the show. So him being seduced by Lanfear feels extra weird.
Yeah, I agree with that.
That I don't know. Well, I do not like that.
And this is kind of the problem that the show's going to get into, is that at some point, in order to justifiably move Perrin forward as a character, they're going to have him talk about Alana's death.
Yeah.
And
yeah, they've just ignored it. It happened, and they're like, let's pretend it didn't happen. Like,
they're going to have to stop the show at some point in season 2 to have this, like, scene that is going to be about a thing that happened in the pilot, that they have to do some way, they have to have some method to get Perrin past this hump that they've put him behind, just for storytelling reasons, just for him to, like, function in the show as a person. Because right now he doesn't, right? Like, Perrin is so stuck on that pilot decision.
Yeah, the only time it's ever even, like, brushed by is when they're with the way of the leaf, which is like, you know, have you ever hurt someone with an axe? And you're like, okay.
Layla, thank you, chat.
Yeah.
And so, like, the whole wife of it all, and it just everything about the wife, I really don't like. And I know that I've said that before. I think it is so cheap. I think it is, like, such a cheap decision for them to have made that really hurts Perrin's character so much in the show. And
I think they're gonna ignore it.
I don't know how you do, though.
It feels like it's just going to be ignored. They're gonna be like, that was a bad choice. We're gonna pretend it didn't happen.
That's gonna be so weird.
Yeah.
It's just gonna be so uncomfy if they don't address it.
It is, yeah.
And I don't know how you do with the storyline. Like, everything moves so fast from here on out. They're always on the road. They're always on the run. There's not time. There's not, like, a place in the story for them to sit down and, like, deal with the thing that they did.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that, like, there's no way to do it. There is. It's just that the amount of oxygen that it is going to suck out of the show to stop and deal with it is more than they have room to do, considering they're going to try and put book 2 and 3 into one season.
Yeah.
And so I feel like they've put themselves in this weird box where, like, they have to keep plowing through thousands, like, thick books, and they've added in this thing that has to be dealt with. Because, like, the difference is the Matt Cawthorn stuff, right? The change where he is more poor now, and his family has that family dynamic. There's nothing about that Matt has to, like, deal with to move on to become the character that he is in the books.
Yeah.
And honestly, they're going to be able to, like, use him getting the taint of the dagger pulled out of him to emotionally move his character past his childhood traumas. And that is totally doable. And I see how they do that while staying true to what happens in the books. The Perrin stuff, you have to stop doing the moving around constantly thing to talk. It has to be talked through. This character has to move past it. Otherwise, you can't have him have a scene with Celine and it be sexual or...
No.
That's weird, right?
But, and here's the thing, like, they could have utilized this decision that they made. CJ Clark, thank you so much.
Yeah, CJ Clark, thank you for that
super chat. We really, really appreciate it.
And I understand why you think that Perrin will be Superstar Lanfear. I think it would be a bad choice.
Here's something. The initial idea that they have could have been utilized much better in season 1. The fact that it was not mentioned at all for the rest of the season, I think, makes it a poor choice. I think that they had an opportunity there that they were like, we're just gonna sideline that, and now it's awkward.
Well,
right?
and I think that if you want him to kill a woman, which is never great, right? But if you want him to do that, just
not great.
have it. Well, but you know what I mean, right?
I know. In terms of storytelling,
I think that if you were to do it by having him have killed his mentor and have it be Mistress Luhan, and not have it be a woman he has a sexual relationship with, but it's his mentor. And they are defending her thing together. And you take the wife out of it, you take the sexual relationship out of it, you take the jealousy towards Egwene out of it. You kind of divorce it from all of those entanglements.
Yeah.
And it's in a moment of fighting, he accidentally killed his mentor. I think that and you can have her be it's okay, son, you didn't mean it. You can give her that moment. You can have it have a different effect on him.
Yeah.
Whereas because it is the only sexual relationship we know this character to have, it just becomes entangled in a whole other thing for him psychologically, particularly if we're going to start pushing him into relationships in this world that are going to they're going to be completely different because he killed his wife.
Yeah.
Matthew S says you haven't met the
super chat.
Thank you for the super chat. You haven't met the Matt we all love yet. I keep hearing that.
We keep hearing that, and I'm excited because Matt's a little shit, and I'm excited. There's so much growth that happens with all of these characters that's amazing, and we have so many books to go, and I'm really looking forward to it.
Mega K Wags, thank you for joining the Nards. Apparently Brandon Sanderson also suggested the mentor death.
Huh.
It's he's a good writer.
It's he knows how to tell a story. I don't know.
Ian, I don't think they're going to be even close to the original source material in the next season. Well, and that's kind of what we're talking. That's this question that we're in right now is
Thank you for the super chat. Thank
you for the super chat. What do you think has to be kept? And the problem is, I don't know because...
I don't know where they're going with a lot of things.
Well, and the problem is because we haven't read book 3, I don't really understand how this... I don't understand how this book isn't a season of television. You know what I mean? I don't understand how you take this and make it half a season of television. This book is massive.
At least one season.
I could make a season of television out of the 3 days they spend in Kyrian.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I could turn this into a show.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I could take 5 seasons of television out of this book.
Yeah.
Easily.
Yeah.
And so I don't really understand how this becomes 4 episodes. 4 hours of TV in this.
Yeah, I think we're gonna lose.
And so I don't know what you cut. I don't know what you keep. I don't know how you do any of it, honestly.
I think that they're going to scrap the portal stones and make it part of the ways. Because introducing a whole other, unless the portal stones are functionally unless later on there's a reason that they can't be, I feel like they're going to just kind of meld that into one and the same.
I think you make the portal stones just much simpler, where they just work and you just teleport around.
But then we have to get introduced to Celine somehow.
Do they meet her in Kyrian?
Okay.
I don't know why they go to Kyrian, but they just meet her there.
So for me, the thing that hinges on is to whether or not Celine is stuck there or is there of her own accord.
Or honestly, I don't know. Rand runs into Celine, and she's the one who leads him out of the Blight. Top of season 2. It's how season 2 starts.
Oh, in the Blight. Okay,
he just runs into Celine. She's being chased by something in the Blight. Rand saves her, and the beginning of season 2 is Rand and Celine. And
I can see that, and I don't hate that. And it also, when you are alone with somebody for long periods of time, you don't have an outside perspective on it. Mm-hmm. And I think that makes the seduction more believable. Not that he's into that he wants to be into her that way, but that she can have that kind of influence with him if they spend a lot of time one-on-one together.
And without Loyal there, although
Yeah.
I will be so sad that we don't get to see Loyal get hot for Celine, because that was some of the funniest stuff.
Although,
Oh, you know,
okay,
for a woman, for a human,
no.
she's pretty hot.
Scene that has to be in the next season, because that was the original question. What scenes can't be cut? Give us the steading, please. Give us the steading.
Oh, yeah, we have to see the
Give
steading.
us Loyal's crutch.
Although...
Give me...
Only do it if it's gonna look good.
Fair.
If you can't make all of the Ogier look good, don't do it. You know what I mean? Like, I really don't want to get to the steading, and there's like 3 good-looking Ogier, and then there are some people a little bit further back in the camera whose makeup just isn't quite on point.
Yeah. I mean,
I don't know how they afford the next season of this show.
Well, that's the thing, right?
Like, it's so expensive.
So and, much that happens, and we don't even know half of what's going to happen in next season because we haven't read the other book yet.
Well, and that's part of the problem, right? Like, I think that you can do something with this. I don't know what it is in 4 hours. Let's move on to our next question here. Faisocan had a question. They wanted to ask, given what happened in the White Tower in The Great Hunt and how the girls left, how do you think that will affect their plot going forward? So this is book stuff. How do you think the girls' plot is going to change moving forward? Or where do you think it goes? Because they're headed back to the tower. Do you think they're like welcomed with open arms? Or like, what do you think happens?
Well... I think they get back and they're like, yeah, the Block Aja, you can't deny it now.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously they're going to help Matt get rid of his, like, dagger taint. And
I never thought that my professional life would involve me saying taint so much.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Thank you, Wheel of Time. Thank you, Robert Jordan.
Appreciate that. I think, like... I think that because of their like role in events that happen, I think that their training might be not streamlined, but like accelerated.
I don't know about Nynaeve's, but I definitely think Egwene's. I think Egwene comes back to the tower with some abilities, and she's like, I'm gonna be accepted because there's metal over there and there's copper over there. I got skills now. I am useful.
Well, yeah, and the fact that like she has such a strong connection to like the more traditional like male side of the one power. Like I think that is going to give her a newfound respect, right? Because the way that a lot of the other Aes Sedai talk about when they talk about Nynaeve and Egwene, like, yeah, like channelers, but that one, Nynaeve, she can do some crazy stuff, right? And I think that this is going to help people, I think, see Egwene in a better light.
I'm really hopeful that book 3 we get some training time at the White Tower.
I agree.
I really want to, because I still don't really understand, and it's a question later on in this, and I'm sorry, we'll mention your name when we get to it, but I don't understand how this magic system works at all.
Yeah.
I have no concept for it yet, and it's really cool, but it feels a little bit broken at times that characters can do things that they're just like, oh, I figured it out. And I'm like, okay, I guess you figured it out just by like, I guess it's just like a brute force system.
Yeah, and Nynaeve was like, I touched the collar twice, and I know exactly how to take it off.
Well, and that the Adam thing is one of the ones that like really broke the magic for me a little bit at the end of the Great Hunt, is that the collars are these things that have existed for hundreds of years, for 1,000 years. I think like 1,000 years. There have been magic users around them all this time, and at no point did anyone figure out how to do this. And Nynaeve, like, reached out with magic once and was like, think I got it.
Well, you don't know that people didn't know how to do that. People were never given the opportunity to do that, right? Because obviously those collars are, like, very highly guarded over where the Sunshin are from, right?
Oh, sure. I just mean, I
But
think...
yeah, it is very, like, easy for her to just be like, oh, yeah, I figured it out.
I don't think that Nynaeve has had enough training to have, like, a fundamental understanding of how to parse out the information of the weaves.
Yeah, like, we know Nynaeve as having a lot of power, but not having control. And her being the one to like figure out how this works just like seems a little bit out of character, because it feels like it's less of a like power problem and more of like an intricacy problem.
Yeah, this isn't a brute force moment. And it feels like up until this moment we keep being told Nynaeve is so strong. She's so strong, but she doesn't have control. And then in this moment, she has more control than anybody else.
Yeah.
And I think it would have been interesting, and because we were talking, there's another question in this. We read through them earlier, so I'm sorry that I'm kind of skipping through and I don't remember who asked what. But there is there's a question about the girls, and we're kind of talking about the girls now. And I wish that Elaine had more to do in the finale here, and I almost wish that they had given the collar unlocking to Elaine.
Me too, actually.
And that had been like her, like Nynaeve is the muscle, but Elaine has this like. You know, because I feel like Elaine is this character that feels like she's very important to the story, who I don't know a lot about.
Yeah, and she also, we talked about this, she actually didn't do much.
She doesn't really do anything at the end of the book. She's there for it, but...
Yeah. Giving her, like... Yeah, giving her something, like unlocking the collars, I think would have been really nice. Because it would have shown the difference in... Yes, Nynaeve is, like, super duper powerful, but... And here's the thing, if Nynaeve had just busted open the collar, I would have felt different about it, but the fact that she's just able to, like, unlock it, I feel like, just give that to Elaine.
And it would have been interesting to have Elaine, you know, be this, like, maybe Elaine's not very powerful, but she just has a brain where she can, like, figure out puzzles, right? And that just becomes, like, something about her character. Well, I feel like we don't learn a lot about Nynaeve by Nynaeve just being able to do it.
And it makes sense, like, it would set Elaine up as more of the strategist because she's the daughter heir, right? And that's going to be, I'm sure, a fundamental part of her character.
100%, yeah. And, like, she would be so educated. She would have the best teachers in all the land. She would be the kind of person who's interacted with, like, a puzzle like this before in a way that Nynaeve has never had to kind of think outside of the box in sort of that kind of way, being from a small town and not having kind of the access to the same kind of education.
Yeah.
Samantha, thank you for that super chat. Nynaeve is a prodigy. She can work with water in a masterful way. She just can't turn the faucet on and off at will. I think
it's
that just doesn't tell me anything about the character. Like, that's not about Nynaeve then. That is about the story needed it to happen. Whereas I feel like if it had been Elaine's moment to shine, it would have told me something about the character of Elaine in a way that I don't think it builds out Nynaeve in any other way other than saying, oh, here's another thing Nynaeve can do. And here's another thing that Nynaeve can do. How? We're not really sure. She just, it's a Taviran. You know what I mean? And I don't like the hand waving of Taviran.
She's not Taviran.
No, but the Wheel of Time sometimes feels like it gets a little hand wavy.
Oh, yeah, Taviran. Yeah.
Oh, Taviran. And so I kind of... I would have liked to have, like, learned something about the characters through their doing the actions at the end of the thing, rather than it be like, well, Nynaeve is here and she can do the thing, and so that's it.
Yeah. Sam, thank you as well for the super chat.
Strength in the one power is frequently accompanied by higher natural weaving dexterity. But here's my point. Strength and dexterity are two different skill trees, right? I feel like if Elaine was all dexterity and Nynaeve was all strength, then we get, like, our party...
It'd be fun, like, yeah.
You build your party. It's, you know, I just have D&D brain because I had a great D&D campaign on Wednesday. But...
No, but it just giving Elaine like a little something to do would have been nice. And like, yeah, we're not saying that like Nynaeve should never have been able to like figure this out. It's just it's one of those. It was a question that was posed to us, like, does the magic system make sense? And the answer is kind of no, not really. We're along for the ride, and like that's fine. I don't mind. I have read plenty of books with a very, like, wishy-washy magic system and just been like, yeah, this
Most
is magic,
of them.
right?
I think that magic systems very rarely make sense.
The Aragon one is really
Aragon's pretty tight, but there isn't a lot of... It can't do very much.
That is not
The
true.
Aragon magic is a little bit limited in scope if you're not Elvish, right?
That is absolutely not true. As long as you know how to... If you can manipulate the ancient language, or you know how to manipulate the flow of magic without even using the ancient language, it is literally the scope of your limitations are the scope of your imagination in Aragon.
Oh, sure, but the scope, but by limiting it to the scope of your imagination, there is like there is an ability there to write, like, you learn about your characters as you build out what their imagination imagines. Whereas so far in the Wheel of Time, a lot of the magic seems to be I'm channeling and then a thing happens and I'm not really sure what that thing was sometimes.
Well, and a
that,
lot of our characters are not versed, like don't know what they're doing.
Sure, and I like it when magic seems to have a cost, and the magic the Wheel of Time doesn't. Like, it doesn't seem like there's any.
The only thing we know is if you pull too much of it, you will burn to a crisp. We've paused on the chat, so I just want to make sure. Yeah. The only thing we know is that if you pull too much power, you will burn to a crisp.
Yeah.
But like that's about it. That's kind of where we're left at, and we don't know what those limitations are. It seems like they are different for every single person. You know, we talk about some people being able to channel certain amounts of power. Like there's only 3, Aes Sedai, Moraine, and somebody else who can do this certain thing. And I'm trying to remember exactly what that was off the top of my head. But like we know that is a thing, but there's no like unit of measurement for it yet. It's just kind of like how powerful you are, which is cool.
Yeah, I think the other thing is the magic system right now has been the things that we've been told about it up until this point have all been broken by somebody. So there isn't a rule to the magic system that we've been introduced to that a character within the magic system hasn't already broken.
Yeah.
And so it just feels like no matter what we're told about the magic system at this point, and obviously I think it's going to get fleshed out once we get to the White Tower in the next book, I feel like so much is going to get explained and we're going to have so much like a better understanding of what happens and how it works.
Yeah, I'm kind of, in a way, I'm glad we don't have all the information just dumped on us immediately, right? It's
100%. I'm not complaining about that. I'm just,
in a way,
the question wasn't, do you dislike how the magic has been portrayed? No, I like how the magic has been portrayed.
For sure.
I don't understand how it works.
No, yeah.
The question was simply, do you understand how it works? And the reason I don't is because when Nynaeve is told, like, don't channel in the thing, she does. She's fine.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, we keep getting these moments where it's like, no one can do this. Nynaeve can do it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so if the rules keep being broken, I never understand what the rules are. Mm-hmm. Having said that, I'm very excited to learn about it later, and I'm not disappointed in the way it's been portrayed at all. I just don't get it yet. Yeah. That's it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I agree with you 100%.
CJ Clark said, "Thank you for that super chat. By the end of the series, the magic worked for you. This is why I was a little bit disappointed they left the White Tower. Right? I want to spend time at the White Tower with these girls, learning about Saidar. Yeah. I want that. Like, I'm really excited for that, and I hope that book 3 has more of that because." I want to know, you know what I mean? And I'm excited. I'm really excited. I don't know if you guys noticed, I'm really excited for book 3.
Yeah. No, we're like we're rearing to go. And that's why, like, I don't know. I feel like we have strong opinions because like we're passionate about it. And hey, it is our first read through. So we do get things wrong. We apologize. But like, you know, there it's a lot of information and
1000%.
And
1,000 pages.
I do think that like Robert Jordan is really skilled at how he gives you what information you need to know.
Yeah.
And how quickly. Like I think it's all on purpose.
He's just a really good writer and he figured it out later and that stuff works. That is also an option.
Yeah.
I will say at this point, I would rank it like upper mid-tier magic so far for me. It's better than the Harry Potter magic to me. The Harry Potter magic to me is nonsense.
Makes no sense.
I enjoy Harry Potter. The magic system in those books is literal nonsense.
Yeah.
But no, like Aragon, I think Aragon is pretty solid. I think it's better than Lord of the Rings magic system, which is also complete nonsense.
It just is what it needs to be.
Yeah. So like I think that like thus far I'm enjoying it and I just want to know more.
Yeah, 100%.
So
one thing I am looking forward to is the things that like we've kind of like been told that are gonna end up just not being true because it's been lost to the breaking or something like that, you know?
Yeah.
Like the beliefs that people have that aren't actually real.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Jerkon asks, what storyline are you least interested currently, and what storyline or aspect of the books are you really excited to see explored next?
So I'm kind of least interested in the White Cloak stuff right now. Mm-hmm. That's just kind of the one thing where I'm kind of like, okay, I get it. It's important information, and it will come into play later. But it's just, in honesty, the one that I'm least interested in. Mm-hmm. But yeah, what's one you're least interested in, I guess? First?
I mean, it's tough, but I don't know. Right now, it's gonna be weird, but right now it's like the Matt Dagger stuff.
Really? Really?
Yeah, that just kind of needs to. I was hoping that would be done by the end of this book.
Oh, like you're ready.
I'm ready for the Matt Dagger stuff to be over.
I think that is going to be the start of the next book.
I
That's
really
gonna be
hope
like
so.
the first thing.
If that dagger gets stolen again, I'm gonna be like, how many more weeks does this boy have to live?
That's not. No. I doubt that that's gonna happen. Yeah. No.
Yeah, the Matt Dagger stuff is this thing that I'm like. I thought that book 2 would end with that, and that would be like the victory at the end of book 2 was saving Matt. I don't know how he survives getting back to Tarvalon. Like, I have a lot of questions about how he gets all the way back across the country with weeks to live without them going through the ways, which are blocked, or through the portal stones again, which are like wildly dangerous, and no one knows how to use them. So I have like real questions about how Matt, who like doesn't have much time left, gets there. But I'm excited for that to be done. I'm excited to get back to like Matt being a character rather than like disease. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that's fair.
And that's just where I feel. I'm really interested in the White Cloaks. I want to know so much about because I think the actor who plays Valda on the show is so good. I'm so excited to like get hints at where his character might go in the future of the show, because I love the actor and I just am excited to see more from him.
The thing is, Matt has the dagger now, so he's not in danger of dropping dead in the next couple weeks, right? He the reason he was so ill is because he was separated from the dagger. That's why they had to find it. Now he has a lot more time. Like, the ultimate goal is still to separate him from the dagger, but like he's
You're a lot smarter than I am.
No.
Man, I didn't think about that.
No.
I was like, oh, he's gonna die. He's just gonna die on the way there.
No.
But yeah, because he has the dagger now,
he's like better.
being sustained again. He's just gonna become a dick again.
He's just gonna become a dick again.
Oh my god. You know what I don't want?
What?
You know what I just start the next book in Tarvalon. I do not need like 4 chapters of everyone just getting pissed that Matt is being a dick on the road again. We had that with Rand in book 1. I don't need another travel montage of of Matt slowly becoming more and more unbearable.
No, that's not gonna happen. No. That's what I mean. I literally think that the very first thing in The Dragon Reborn is going to be at Tarvalon and separating Matt from the dagger. Like, I legitimately think that will be the first thing that we read. So that's fun.
I'm down for that. I'm definitely down for that. What is the storyline you're most excited for moving into the next thing? I'll go first, and you think about it. Because mine I think is a little weird, but like the thing I am most excited about, other than learning about the magic at Tarvalon, is Padden Fane in the Sanshin.
Fair enough.
Padden Fane is such a good character. He's so compelling. He is smart and mischievous and like not fully in control of his own desires.
Yeah.
And he's like, among people that he can manipulate.
Yeah.
Like, it really feels like he is in a prime position to be the only person who comes back for the Sanshin in a leadership position. All the other members of the Sanshin who are leaders are dead. Right? And so he comes back bearing the news of what happened. He can manipulate how that news reaches the Empress and what kind of army she brings back to Randland. I just think the Padden Fane, like, that to me is there's so much exciting possibility in what's happening with Padden Fane, and I'm really excited for it.
That is, I like that a lot. Rich, thank you so much for the super duper chat.
Yes, thank you for that. What do you think happens with Padden Fane in the future? The problem is I don't know, because
he's obviously
I don't know what the Sanshin land is like.
Yeah, he's obviously gone off with the Sanshin, and we'll find out like what consequences that has. But they're already kind of like morally not great. Yeah.
And so I'm like, if he corrupts the morally not great people further, woof.
But also, do you think that Padden Fane is going to have problems being separated from the dagger like Matt did? Do you think he's going to have to come back to get that dagger? Because like the way that we have, like when we have
that's interesting.
Matt to go off of, right? When we have Matt to go off of, it seems like being separated from the dagger is a big problem. Okay. But Padden Fane's also not completely human. He's had weird things done to him at Shadow Gold. Like, he's not, like, he's already very different. Is he going to be fine without the dagger? Is it just more of, like, the compulsion thing? Or is he going to need to get that back to survive?
I like that take a lot. Because I like the idea that Padden Fane becomes more erratic the further away from the dagger he gets. Like that could be fun to play with. That he like, he's got that itch, right?
Yeah.
And like, how does he interact with the Sanshin as he, like, is it going to be one of those stories where like he's trying to push the Sanshin to go back now because he needs to get back to that dagger, and they're kind of dragging their feet, and he starts to kind of, like kill people off and like try and like manipulate the Sanshin into really pushing, the engine of war forward faster.
Could you imagine if Padan Fain had his own like domain and like...
Oh, I think that'll happen.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Like, I hate it all.
I mean, I don't think that he'll have, like, I think that he'll have Soldam who work for him.
Yeah.
I don't think he'll hold the leash, because I don't think that men can, right? I think that it's purely a Saidar connection between the two women. So I don't think, like, I don't even think Rand could hold it, right? Because I don't think, like, Saidin would channel into Saidar and control a Saidar user.
I don't know. I guess it depends on how different they are. But potentially, yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, that's going to be a really fun side of the story to see, because the Sanshin are coming back. We may not get them in the next book, but they're coming back, and it's going to be a mess.
Mm-hmm.
I am excited, in all honesty. I'm excited to have Moraine back. And,
me too. And Lan.
Yeah, I'm really excited to have Moraine and Lan back, and just have those two, like, really grounded points. And I honestly am really excited to see Matt become separated from this dagger and start to become this character that everyone loves so much. That, like, I'm really, really looking forward to that.
Envy fan, thank you so much for that super chat.
Thank you so much for the super
Matt
chat.
becomes the best character in the next book. I can't wait for it.
That's what I'm hoping for.
That's what we're waiting for.
That's what I'm hoping for,
So, Eodorius in the Discord asked, which character would you like to play in an ideal adaptation of the books? If you could play anyone, whether they've been cast already or not.
In only the first 2 books. If I could play anyone.
Yeah, well, I don't think you can play a character we don't know about yet.
Well, no, that's what I mean. I'm like, where are the Aiel? I don't know. Do you know off the top of your head?
I think Galad would be really fun.
Yeah,
He seems like primed for an arc that would be fun to play.
Yeah, especially because he's good to a fault, which then makes it
he's manipulatable because of that, right? Like, I think that like, and I've got the like I'm 6'4" thing.
Yeah,
so,
you got the height working for you.
There are certain characters that I feel like I'm probably too old now.
Too old? No, you have. No.
Oh my god, because he's like 17 and I'm
Galad?
30.
No, Galad's not 17. The younger brother is.
I think Galad. I think he's like at
no. I think 20. He's like 25.
People are saying read and find out. Oh, I have no idea what Galad's arc is. I'm just saying that he's the kind of character who, honestly, I think Galad will end up.
Gawain, that's the younger one.
Yeah,
Galad is 26. Yeah.
Galad's 26.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like he's like the older brother.
I could play Galad.
Yeah, you totally
could.
No,
he just feel. I feel like Galad's gonna. I feel like Galad is going to.
As an actor, he's gonna have a lot to like chew on.
I think he's gonna be evil.
Oh, yeah.
I think
that's
like,
what I mean. That's why it'd be so fun to play.
I think Celine will manipulate him.
Celine?
Yeah, I think that Rand is gonna figure out Celine at some point, and I think that she's going to, or Lanfear, right? I think that Lanfear is going to need to latch on to. It feels like her power is kind of in manipulating men.
Yeah.
And Galad being so close to the throne of Caemlyn or of Andor, I just feel like he's in the kind of place that I think Celine could get her hooks into him and kind of twist him into what she needs him to be to further her goals.
See, I would never have thought that. In my brain, like Galad is kind of one of those people that's just like too virtuous to be like swayed by lust. But depending on how Celine goes about it, there's potential.
I don't know, but Celine, the first time she manipulates Rand, it isn't through lust. Mm-hmm. It is through the innocent, noble lady who is in danger, and if anything will get sunk into Galad's heart faster, it will be rescuing a maiden in distress, because he's the kind of guy who's like, I'm the noble knight.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go save the woman in distress, right?
Yeah.
And so I just feel like that would be a great. I feel like it would be a fun arc. I feel like he's gonna have some.
Oh, as an actor,
he's gonna die.
As an actor, it would be so fun to play.
Or he's dead by the end of book 3.
Dwayne, thank you so much for the super chat. My biggest frustration with the show is the lack of distinction between Saidar and Saidin. I agree. I think that that is not well established yet in the show, and I hope that they take more time with that. Eric, thank you for becoming Naga the Nerd Table for 3 months.
I do be late, but I have me drink. Wheel Up Time, thank you for that super chat. How could I not pick Ship Captain?
You're too young for that
I'm
one.
too young to do it justice, and if I failed playing Ship Captain, I would never be able to, like, be okay. Like, there are certain characters... Yeah.
Yeah, if you're... The pressure to be Ship Captain... If I could
For
be
me,
anyone,
it would just mean a lot, right?
If I could be anyone, I'd be Narg. I'd be Narg. Super easy. Get your paycheck. No. Everybody loves you.
You would have to do it in stilts. You would have to have arm extensions. Casting you as Narg would cost the production team so much money. Honestly, I should be Narg. I'm not that good an actor. And so that's just throw me in the prosthetics. I'm really good at wearing prosthetics. You have seen me in movies before. You just don't know it because I was covered in plastic.
Oh God.
Gotta love those uncredited background roles.
Oh my God.
All right. Let's move on to the next question. Which
I feel like I should seriously answer that question.
Oh yeah.
I don't actually.
Do you have a serious answer? Because you stalled for all that time and didn't say
stall,
anything. So.
And I don't know.
Great. I'm glad you stopped us from moving on so that we could do this.
Mm-hmm, you're welcome. I think it'd be really fun to play.
Welcome to our new segment. Clarus makes up the news every Monday in the Nightly Morning Show.
I think it'd be really fun to play Elaine. I don't know where she's like going yet, but like
you'd be a great Elaine, yeah.
Thanks. She seems like
you have the cheekbones to play a noble.
Thanks, I'll take it. Clarus, Perrin? No, I'm
too young.
Perrin is too smart.
Yeah.
I can't capture that wisdom.
You also don't have the look of someone who is got like old eyes but a young face. You are a fresh-faced...
A youth.
You're a youth, yes.
Sure, I'll take it. My moisturizer is really doing its job.
Elbine Ho wants to know when do you think we will meet Ship Captain again?
No idea.
Pretty soon.
I think he's got to... Like, the fact that he keeps, like, being there and they almost all get together, like...
I think he's Ta'Viren.
You think Ship Captain is Ta'Viren?
I think Bail Doman's Ta'Viren. How did he end up with Quindalar? I think the big reveal. I think the big reveal is that Rand is the Dragon Reborn, and Lews Therin is the Ship Captain Reborn, and that he captained the ship that Lews Therin took to seal the Dark One away, and that like I have a feeling Bail Doman is going to be like the reincarnated soul of the person who brings Rand to the final battle. Like throughout history, it's always been Bail Doman and the Spray or the Gust or whatever his ship was called in the past. And it's Bail Doman is just always there, bringing Rand and bringing Lews to the final battle.
God.
Yeah.
Oh, sure. All right.
Yeah, I think it could happen.
All right.
You know what? You know who actually I would really love to play if I could play anyone. I would love to be Baalzamon.
That would be fun.
I would have so much. And the actor they cast is awesome, and I'm so happy. Like, I'm so happy it's him. I think he's great. But like, that would be a really fun character to play.
You know who I would really love to see play Elaine?
Who?
Florence Pugh.
Yeah, I get that. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Right? Anyways, I'm obsessed with her.
She would also, honestly, she'd be a great Nynaeve. Because she plays like over it.
Yeah, she's like, I'm done. Fucking get like I'm done. Yeah.
Typhanis wants to know actually we'll get to that later.
I would love to play Bookman, actually. Bookman would be a very fun role.
Typhanis, we'll get to it. Dos Equis says, my question is, on a spectrum, who do you think is the bigger villain, the Sanshin or the Children of Light?
Like bigger in terms of their role in the story?
Or like that you dislike the most?
That I dislike the most. I hate them both. Like that.
That's tough.
I don't know if I really have an answer to that question, to be honest. But
I'm gonna go Sanshin. Just slavery's bad. Just in every way, shape, and form.
Yeah.
And I don't know.
Yeah.
They're both awful, but like I really hate the Sanshin.
Yeah.
I was really, like, the end of that book when their ships are burning and they're still on them, I was like, that's fair.
Getting the the perspective of Egwene wearing the collar was rough. Yeah. So I think that's fair.
I feel like we haven't seen enough of the White Cloaks in the books to hate them as much as what we've seen from the Sanshin. And, like, just how awful they are.
Yeah.
I'm like, nah, I'm good. You guys,
And the whole, their weird, like, brainwashy thing of, like, you serve this family and when they die, you just kill yourself is, like, so
Yeah,
gross.
don't like that either.
Yeah, honestly, the Sanshin, they're pretty, I'm gonna go with Sanshin. They suck.
I think the White Cloaks are gonna end up being good guys. I think at the final battle,
figure it out.
I don't think in, like, the next 7 books. But I think in book 14, I think the White Cloaks ride behind Rand into the final battle.
Hey.
I think he wins them over.
Okay. Do you think he's like, hey, I also don't like the Aes Sedai. Can you just, like, help me for, like, 5 minutes and then we'll go back to whatever we were doing before?
Yeah, no, I think Sempi, thank you for that super chat.
Thank you for the super chat.
I think the White Cloaks I think there's a turn at some point. Mm-hmm. And they end up, I don't know why. I just feel like at the end of days, everyone has to kind of, like, root out, and I think there will be, like, a coming together of some kind.
Yeah.
Not with all of them, obviously. Like, I definitely don't think Valda will be a part of that. But whoever this other White Cloak dude is that the information is being sent off to, I feel like he's gonna, I don't know. I feel like they're gonna realize there are Black Cloaks in their ranks. Black Aja, Black Cloaks. Everyone's got their thing. And
it's all about the colors of the rainbow.
Yeah. I think that I don't know. I feel like there will be some sort of, like, I think that, like Ingtar, there will be, like, a banner of White Cloaks that sacrifice themselves at the final battle to make up for to try and, like, atone for their actions throughout the series.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Interesting.
And then let's move on to the next question, which is no, we did that one. This one's a Titanus question. What do you imagine will happen in The Dragon Reborn? And what do you think is the future of each of the main characters?
So basically prediction time. I do want to point out CJ Clark above there did ask for a character tier list, and we will be doing that, but that'll be a separate.
Yeah, that'll be a separate video. We're not going to do that in this video.
Yeah. That'll be its own separate thing.
But we're definitely interested in it.
I definitely think that the next book starts off with Matt being separated from the dagger, or not being able to be separated from the dagger, and having to figure out how he can.
God, I hope not. I really don't want.
Well, no, because as long as he has
he has to be separate. No, he just has to be separated from it. You're right. Like this whole, like.
But the problem is that in the, like, dream with where Balsamon where Balsamon had the, like, little figurines, Matt was literally the one with the dagger, which makes it seem like it's going to be a big part of his character moving forward. And I hope that it's not that
was
he's
when
a dick,
he literally had it, though.
But, like, Perrin wasn't a wolf brother yet.
But Perrin was born a wolf brother.
Yeah, I don't know.
I think that I don't mind if he continues to wield the dagger, as long as it's not a, like, every time it's away from him, he is going to die in 6 weeks. And I just don't want the perpetual, like, oh, we have to get this dagger and then we have to take him to Tarvalon. I want that to be done. Mm-hmm. If he still has the dagger and it's, like, his weapon of choice, or, like, he's still connected to it, but it doesn't make him a dick all the time.
Well, that's the thing.
That's fine.
I think there's going to be a connection, but I don't think he's going to, like, I think he's going to not have the, like, it's not going to be, like, tolling in the same way, I think.
100%.
I think, yeah. But yeah, I think that's how we're going to start the book. I think we're going to learn more about the magic.
What the hell is Rand? What is Rand, Perrin, and Moiraine doing?
Rand, Perrin, and Moiraine. Yeah, what a motley crew.
But also, like, the end of the book leaves no.
And wait, and is Min there? No, did Min? No.
Thank you for the super chat, Amvi fan.
Thank you so much for the super chat.
I feel like it might be a spoiler, but thank you for it.
I mean, yeah, that's our prediction, but yeah.
The thing about Rand and Co. is
company. Rand and company.
I think they have to go to the tear or the tier, right?
Yeah.
Because Rand has to get the sword that isn't a sword, and I've seen the cover of the next book, right? And so I think the cover of the next book is a little bit of a spoiler.
Okay, I haven't looked at it.
I think that Rand will have to. The original cover is like Rand holding like. It literally looks like Link at the beginning of Legend of Zelda when he's like, it's dangerous to go alone, take this. And Link holds the sword in the air above him. That's what the cover of the next book is.
Right.
And so I feel like going to Tyr to get the sword feels like the storyline they're going to go with, I guess.
Yeah.
Karlak, we thank you for that super
Thank
chat.
you for the super chat.
We buy one copy of the books.
We share.
We are married. There's no reason for us to own two, and we do our best not to contribute to more waste on the planet than is necessary. And so one copy of a book between the two of us is adequate.
Yeah, we also
we're really good at sharing.
We're great at sharing, and we're both like pretty quick readers, so it ends up being fine. There have been moments though where I've been like, maybe I should just get the Kindle version, but
yeah,
it's fine.
Yeah, yeah. So I definitely think that Tyr and the sword that is a sword. The problem is that like all the villains are kind of dealt with right now, and so I don't know like who Rand is gonna go fight unless Baalzamon is still alive. But then like if Baalzamon is still alive, I kind of want them to move on to it. I don't know if this is true yet, right? Because I don't really know who Ishamael is and who Baalzamon is. But if Baalzamon is alive, I want him to reveal himself to be Ishamael and behave differently. Because I don't really want another book where Rand interacts with the Dark One's disciple in the same way again.
Yeah.
He's getting a little one note, and I want whoever Rand's like antagonist in the book is to be different. Obviously, Lanfear could step into the main antagonist of the next book. Maybe. I have no idea. But yeah, I definitely think Tyr. I think that it's a place we haven't been yet. I don't think that we're gonna. It doesn't make sense for Rand to go back to any of the places he's been so far. So. And
he still needs to go to the Aiel Waste. Like we know that that's happening because of the prophecies. Yeah. So.
Oh, the Aiel. Oh, y'all, lots of Aiel in book 3.
You think so?
Lots of Aiel because he has to become the one that left that comes back. There's a whole prophecy, right? He comes back. Yeah. And he leads them. He leads them to water or something. To something nice. And then he becomes a Kwisatz Haderach. Right? God. Isn't this...
No.
Yeah, no.
That's not the crossover that we're looking for.
No, I'm pretty sure, yeah. He finds out that he's been in Atreides the whole time, and he becomes a Kwisatz Haderach because he puts his hand in the box and he feels pain, but he doesn't take his hand out.
Right. Yeah, you nailed it. I think that's actually the entire plot of the next book.
I think I figured it out.
Yeah, well done.
Rand will ride a sandworm. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. It's gonna have this like cool dagger that's gonna be like Matt's dagger, but it's actually a tooth.
I wanted to be really cool and just like name the sandworm, but I can't. I'm blanking and I'm so embarrassed. The name of those sandworms is so cool in those books.
Mm-hmm. I have only read the first one.
Ship Captain is the sandworm. The name of the sandworm's in the first one.
The name I don't even remember.
It's
Spice to Die.
Shai Halud. Thank you, Dakuna.
That's it. There it is.
I knew fucking Dakuna would be on it. Shai Halud. What a great name. Rand Atreides, yes. Rand Altrades. I love that, Sir Jamaris.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I'm pretty sure that's what happens. Yeah, I think he becomes the Kwisatz Haderach.
I hope that the Aiel Waste has like sandworms. That would just.
Speaking of Florence Pugh, she's gonna be in Dune 2, maybe.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Put her in everything. I will watch her. I watched her like eat high tea once on YouTube, and I was like, "This is the greatest thing I've ever seen."
That video was awesome.
It was great.
Yeah, her just explaining what high tea was.
I love her so much. Anyways,
Blue asks, "Which character are you surprised you dislike?"
The problem is, I don't really genuinely dislike anybody right now. Like everyone is. Everyone feels like a fully fleshed out character, and characters who like have growth to do, but like they feel like people. Like the only reason I really ever dislike a character is because they feel two-dimensional, and I don't think there's really any of that.
One-dimensional.
Sorry. No.
Well, two-dimensional is not bad.
Sure.
I mean, you want to be three-dimensional, but if you can be two-dimensional, it's better than being one-dimensional.
Right, of course. Yeah. And if you hit that fourth dimension, you're boogieing.
And if you get to like the 9th dimension, you get into Mr. Mixel-Spitalik.
I don't know what those words mean.
Or I think he might just be 5th dimension. He's a Superman villain that he has the incredible magical power, and the only way to banish him is to get him to say his own name backwards, and his name is Mr. Mixel-Spitalik.
Wow,
It's awesome. He's
sure.
one of my favorite Superman villains.
If you say so.
I quite like him.
Yeah, there's no one that I'm like surprised that I dislike. Yeah, sorry, Blue.
I'm surprised. I don't dislike Elaine. I'm surprised that I don't have any like real. I really liked her in the stuff that she was in book 1. And I felt kind of ambivalent to her presence in book 2.
Yeah, she didn't do much.
Yeah, and so I do wish Elaine had... I wish the Elaine from the courtroom scene had, like, shone through a little bit more in book 2.
She
Because...
was so out of her depth, though. It was very
Yeah,
funny.
I really loved her in book 1. And I feel like she was just kind of, like, there when she was there in book 2. And didn't contribute as much as... Like, Min, I feel like Min really shined in book 2 in a way that I was really surprised by.
Mm-hmm.
Like, Min came out of nowhere in book 2 and really just became one of my favorite characters. I love Min a lot.
Yeah.
And I'm really glad they have the actress who plays Min on the show, because I think she's great.
Yeah.
And
I like her a lot.
It's going to be so fun to watch. I didn't realize how, like, close she would get to the main crew. I thought she was always going to be kind of like a supporting
like a fringe
character.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so the fact that she's like in the main party, I don't know how they get her back, right? They're going to have to go find her, but I really really like Min in book 2. And so I hope that Elaine gets more in book 3. But then I want Min to keep going in this direction, because I love that character so much.
Yeah.
And like her wearing the like Sanchin dresses and stuff, like she's smart, and like she's on it, and I'm really that surprised me the most, was how much Min grew on me in this book.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah.
I definitely think I did not think she would become such as big of a part. So I'm excited for that moving forward.
So Sharon Scout wants to ask, what do you think of the religion in the Wheel of Time? Everyone believes the same belief. There's no priest or holy man. Nobody worships the creator. But the White Cloaks are the closest thing to a religious order, but they're religious extremists. Do you sorry, it's a long question, Sharon. I'm trying to like condense it. Mm-hmm. Do you think that how do you feel about the religion and the fact that there's kind of one religion in this world?
It's so I think the reason that like there's so many religions in our world is because there's no proof of any of it, right? Whereas the Wheel of Time is like the fact that magic exists,
mm-hmm.
and the fact that reincarnation literally exists, like mm-hmm. people have memories that don't belong to them. Like once you have those like more concrete things, then people are like, yeah, well, I'll accept that, because like it just kind of, I guess, makes sense. I mean, you mm-hmm. know, the magic doesn't like 100% make sense in like a logical way, but yeah, I can totally see why there's kind of like the Wheel of Time, because there's like evidence for it.
Yeah, I think it's partially the existence of it's partially the distance from our present that this happens at, mm-hmm. where I mean, we already see this in modern times, right? Like religion is becoming less and less important to the average person's life compared to like 100 years ago.
For sure.
Atheism is the number of people who identify, especially openly identify as atheists, is so much higher now than it was even probably 15 years ago, right? Mm-hmm. And so I think that the rise of technology and the rise of an interconnected world diminishes localized religions by a lot, mm-hmm. just inherently, right? Because it becomes harder and harder to disagree on such a fundamental level the more you are connected to other people. Mm-hmm. And I'm not saying that it doesn't exist. It absolutely does. But if we assume that this society is further ahead of our future, and that sort of like decentralization of these like local religion hotspots has happened in their society, and they've kind of coalesced into a globalized society, and then that globalized society were to experience an event like the breaking, that it is shared what is happening and why, I think that it would be hard for the oral tradition of storytelling, which would be the most likely thing to like continue past that point. Mm-hmm. It would be hard for that oral tradition to not have a kind of like shared understanding of the world, because the religion that they have would be based on an event that they are still feeling the effects of.
Yeah.
And so there is kind of like a hard line driven in the sand in terms of what all these people believe, because there is a real, like, there are real events that are within their memory or not within their memory, but within like the oral memory of these cultures that are so tied together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now my question is, do you think that like the way of the leaf is a religion? Or do you think it's more like a moral code?
See, no, because the way of the leaf is still a part of the religion of the Wheel of Time, right? Like the way of the leaf is there. It is their belief that by practicing nonviolence, they will filter back through the wheel and be reincarnated better, and that all people will benefit from reincarnation more through the Wheel of Time.
Yeah.
So like the way of the leaf is still rooted in the belief system of the Wheel of Time.
Okay, yeah. No, fair enough. It's like the closest thing that I can kind of think of, like that we've experienced in the series. So it's like but it is literally derivative of exactly the Wheel of Time. Yeah.
Yeah, Titanis brings up an interesting point about how there are more religious people in the world now than ever before. Is
that because population numbers, though, or percentage?
It's partially population, and it's also the number of people who identify with a religion versus the number of people who attend religion and practice religion in the way that we used to is greatly diminished. And so, like, we are seeing there are plenty of people who identify as like a Christian or as Jewish or Muslim, but the amount that religion plays into people's lives is greatly diminished worldwide. Right. And the importance of marrying someone of the same religion, of finding people who have the exact same beliefs as you, like those things outside of some places in the world where obviously they're still very, very important, globally those things have become diminished over time. And there are many studies that show that,
because 100 years ago, if you did not go to church on Sundays, you were like a no person.
And obviously there are certain like places, obviously like Israel-Palestine is a very complicated situation where religion is very important on both sides of that. But there are a lot more places in the world now where people marry someone who does not have the same faith of them than even 10 years ago. And so like things like that are becoming more and more prevalent, and the importance of like a strict adherence to a faith is becoming less important globally, even though it becomes complicated when you get to like China and Buddhism, because understanding like that relationship can be different, but as compared to like what are they called? Not Christian religions, but like the Muslim faith and Judaism and Christianity. This gets into like a whole other thing that I'm not an expert on. I've only taken a couple of college level classes in, but there has been a shift.
Right. And religion means something different now than it did 100 years ago.
And religion divides, despite the fact that there are huge religious divides in very localized places, religion divides less globally than it used to.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. I think that's fair. Yeah, I think that this is one of those, I think that in the Wheel of Time...
Abrahamic religions. Thank you, Costas.
There you go. I think that in the Wheel of Time, there's so much other stuff going on. You don't, like, I don't know how you would add in, like, there's going to be, like, cultural things from different places in the world, but,
there's just too many concrete events.
There's too many things, and if you had people then also fighting about, like, well, I believe that's because this happened, it becomes, like, a lot, and so this is like the choice that was made and that I'm happy with.
Yeah, Sharon, thank you for that. That was a really interesting question. Thank you.
Yeah.
Leak825 says, the end of The Great Hunt showed, according to Nerdy Nightly, that's me, one of the most understandable reasons for becoming a dark friend. What compelling reasons do you think or hope the Forsaken had for joining? We were talking about this one earlier because it's tough because the Forsaken have been Forsaken for lifetimes, right? Like please don't spoil if it's not, but my understanding of the Forsaken is that they have been the Forsaken since like the first life. They're like they've been the Forsaken since like Cain and Abel, right? Like Cain would be like a Forsaken. Not obviously Cain, because Christianity doesn't exist in this world, but do you know what I mean? Like,
I mean, it used to. If it's a future anyway, yeah, that's complicated.
But I don't think the Forsaken are from Lews Therin's time. Like, because Ishamael says we have fought
For thousands of years.
times.
Yeah.
Not even years. We've fought thousands of times.
Yeah.
Thousands of years apart. So I just feel like I don't know what happened then.
Yeah, it's so hard for us to imagine how the Forsaken came to be when we literally don't even know at what point in time they became Forsaken.
I don't even know how many Forsaken there are.
Yeah, there's like 20.
That's a question. Actually, let's just get to that question. The final question on this list. How many Forsaken can you name?
Lanfear.
Lanfear, Baalzamon,
Yeah.
Ishamael.
Wait, well, it depends if Baalzamon and Ishamael are
I
the
don't
same
know.
person. Yeah. Confusing.
Agintor.
Yeah. There were the two
Agintor
guys,
and who is the guy with Agintor? There's Brandon Sanderson, Rafe Judkins, Elon Musk, definitely Forsaken.
Jeffrey Bezos.
Jeff Bezos.
That's what I was saying before.
Belthamel, thank you.
Belthamel. Yeah. That's.
They had Baalzamon and Belthamel. Don't put those two in a room together, because then you have to be like, oh yeah, Baalzamon and Belthamel.
It's just like that's word bad. Vomit. I couldn't even remember those names.
Empanadas.
So you crushed it.
Empanadas are Forsaken for sure because of what they do to my tummy.
Jeff Bezos bought them. Because you were like, yeah, what compelling reasons do you think or hope the Forsaken had before joining? I was like, I don't know. I feel like
money,
yeah, like, because here's the thing: if the Forsaken became the Forsaken, like, here's the thing: if the year is 2027 and the breaking happens.
More like 2022.
Or like 2022, like Jeffrey Bezos is definitely 2022. One of the Forsaken, right? Like that just has to be. You have to, like.
It would just be so funny if he cameoed on an Amazon show as the Dark One. Like, it would just be so on brand for him to, like, be in on the joke.
I hate it.
All right. Boli asks, how important do you think the Sanshin are going to be in the plot for the main series? Or do you believe they've been beaten back and it'll just be a minor annoyance moving forward? No, come on. We're going to have...
No, they're...
Huge battle. The Sanshin, I think we're gonna have a sea battle that ship captain leads like the Navy into. I think there's gonna be a big water moment.
Cool.
I feel like we're gonna have different battles, right? Like, we've had the sky battle, we've had like the sky oil painting battle. I think we're gonna have some cool land battles up at the Blight. I think the Sanshin are gonna be like the dope Navy battle in like book 8 or something.
Yeah. Guys, I know you really want to show off your Wheel of Time knowledge, but no spoilers. That's why your comments are getting deleted. You don't need to show off. Everyone else here except us has read all the books. So I really hope that they find... What?
Nothing. It's just...
There's no... Like, guys, come on. You're smarter than this. I hope that they find a submarine and they attack the Sanshin from under the water. I hope that they finally have, like, I hope that they get submarine technology.
Okay.
And that's how they fuck up the Sanshin.
All right.
Because they're going to be like, well, what do you mean they're underwater? It's going to throw them off.
Sure.
Yeah.
They're going to build submarines.
Yeah. I mean, they have the one power. They can do whatever they want.
Do you think like, where do you think like physics is at in this world? Do you think that they understand like air pressure yet?
Air pressure?
Like, because you can't build a submarine without an understanding of air pressure, like air pressure, water pressure, right?
I mean, I guess it could be like a really shallow submarine. I don't know. I mean, like, mountains exist, so... No, that's altitude, not air pressure. Never mind.
Mountains exist?
Yeah, I was like, well, yeah, like, don't mind. Just forget about it.
That's the opposite.
Mm-hmm, that's what I mean.
Yeah.
So the existence of one would then, it does matter. It's fine.
No, the Sanshin are going to be huge. They're going to be a huge...
They're going to be a big
because
big
Padan Fane's with them, right? Like, and Padan Fane, I think, is going to be one of the main villains of the series. He's being built up as being someone who, like, when we finally beat Padan Fane, it's going to be a huge moment. And I think that he's coming with the Sanshin on his heels. He's going to have that. All right. Pandoria asks, do you think Rand has accepted that he's the Dragon Reborn? And if not, what do you think will have to happen for him to embrace it?
So I think we actually talked about this earlier a little bit, in the sense that yes.
I just got 2 auditions, like, in, like, the last 5 minutes. Yeah.
Hey.
Sorry,
That's
my
fun.
agent. It's when I see it's my agent, I'm like, I have to look.
No, that's...
Because, you know, you never know when it's going to be like, hey, can you audition in 3 hours?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I love that for us
Our
actors. That's fun. Yeah, we were talking about this, and I think that, like, publicly Rand has been like, okay, yes, I'm kind of the Dragon Reborn, but I feel like he's not, like, it's your audition for Galad. But I feel like he doesn't fully accept it about himself. I think that book 3 will be him fully coming to terms with it and embracing it fully, whereas he's kind of at the point where he's like, okay, yeah, sure, like, I guess, like, I kind of am. Right?
I think he knows. I don't think he's, like, happy about it, but he knows. You know what I mean? Like, I think that he's given up the, like...
When he did...
Because at the end of the book, he gives up that Tam is his dad.
I was going to say,
and that is the moment where I'm like, oh, like, yeah, no, he's in. He's on board for what the end of the show is going to be.
Yeah.
The show, the books.
The books. Yeah, I think it's going to be more so, like... I think this book is actually going to be more how he comes to terms with it. I think that that's a better way of explaining it, because he's kind of said, literally, like, the last line is like, I gave my answer or whatever. We don't know what the answer is, but if it's no, that's kind of lame. Like, I don't know what they...
Wheel of Time wants to know if I'm auditioning for the role of Bella. Yes, I will be the ass of the horse. Just the rear end.
Just the rear end.
Yeah.
Yeah. That checks out.
Y'all, I see there's chat in the chat. If our mods delete something, they're right.
Yeah, our mods are always correct. That does not matter.
Yeah. They work too hard for free.
Do not fight with the mods.
Deal with any
The mods
crap.
have the power. Yeah. I don't care.
Pandora also asks, what storylines or characters from this book do you think the show will leave out in season 2?
Will leave out.
Yeah. What do you think is most likely to get cut? Can I give a controversial answer?
I'm kind of a controversial answer as well.
I don't think we see Kyrian yet.
Oh.
I think they save Kyrian for a while.
Yeah, I can see that. So you don't think Tom's gonna be back in the next season?
Okay.
Here's the thing. He doesn't have to be.
No, that's tough. He does. I think that
Yeah. No, I honestly, I agree. I don't think we see Kyrian at all. I also think that they're going to cut Egwene being collared.
I don't think you can.
With the weird ball gag thingies, I don't know how they're going to do it.
I just feel like it's going to be important for her character to have, like, learned otherwise, like, how does she learn what she learned? You know what I mean? And then also, like, how do you make the Sanchin villains if you don't have anyone dive into it?
Well, I mean, you can see what they're doing.
Oh, sure. I just mean, like, I don't know. I understand why. I understand your impulse, and I don't. You are probably right. I just think that
I could see it.
I think it would do the show a disservice to cut it.
I agree.
I just don't want to see the ball gag part.
I agree 100%, but I have a feeling that might be one thing that's, like, on the chopping block. Unfortunately,
a lot of people are saying that Tom can show up anywhere. To be fair,
Well, but he has kind of an insight to this, like, Game of Thrones that no one else does, and, like, the fact that he actively participates in it at the end of his story arc. I'm just saying that can be saved for later.
I know, but I would actually be down for his. I would be down for them to cut the.
Barthanes is cast apparently, so they are going to Kyrian.
Interesting.
Yeah, but yeah.
You can merge a lot of stuff that has happened in Kyrian though.
Yes.
Yeah. You know what I think that they might do is they might cut Tom's girl getting killed.
You think so?
Yeah. I could see them cutting another woman being murdered on the show for a man's character development. I could see that being something, because they did that with Perrin's wife. They kind of took Tom's thing and gave it to Perrin, right? So I could see them cutting her character in order to not just kill off another woman to Dina was cut for Dana. I think that Dina might get cut. But not literally. Like, I think she will be like cut from the show, not cut on the show. Just to kind of not do the same thing as Perrin's trauma.
I agree.
It's kind of similar now.
Weird.
Yeah.
Like, that is weird. Like, if they did it again, people would be like, wait a second. I don't know. That's a weird one, because then how does that, like, then what is Tom's motivation for, like, getting back in the game and, like, murdering the king?
I don't know that he has to murder the king. Like, because I don't know where that plotline goes. So the king could just die because of the Game of Houses, right? Like, the king could die because Rand slips up. Like, there's so many different ways the Game of Houses could be handled. Whereas without having to, like, just introduce a woman to kill her off for a man's motivation.
Yeah.
Again, you know, if the show hadn't done it once already, I would say, like, who knows?
Yeah.
I don't know that they would do the same beat again.
Yeah.
And that's just my thinking.
No, I agree.
They might avoid that.
Here's the thing: if that hadn't happened to Perrin, then I would say, yeah, of course they'll keep it. There's no reason, but because,
I agree. Yeah.
But yeah, it's weird. That one's a weird one.
It feels really, Deshiva says season 2 is going to be so messy. I hope not, but
I hope not. There's a lot
I
that
hope not.
we do like about the show. The show is not the books reincarnated. The show is an interpretation, and it has its faults, but, you know, it did give me a lot of joy at the end of last year. I do want to be honest about that.
Yeah, absolutely.
So.
Sharon Scout asked, do you think The Wheel of Time would have been better as an animated series? We kind of already answered that, but yes. I think it would have been easier to pull off. I think you mentioned Arcane in your comment, Sharon. I think that, like, that kind of adult animation style would have actually worked really well for Wheel of Time.
Yeah, that would have been very cool.
And also wanted to know, if the movie was adapted in the late 90s, early 2000s, who do you think could have pulled it off now that you have a sense of the scale, scope of the world, the magic system?
So we know the obvious answer is Peter Jackson, but I like your answer to this.
I was thinking about this, and my first thought was George Lucas, because George Lucas was playing around with technology with the prequel trilogy. And I think it would have been really interesting to see someone trying to use, like, that early technology to try and do something like this. And then I was thinking about, like, who was pushing technology to do, like, really big scope things in the late 90s, early 2000s. And what actually stuck out to me was the Wachowskis. The Wachowski sisters are, they're both trans. And I think that in terms of, for the late 90s, early 2000s, giving this franchise to what they do with the gender politics of the Matrix franchise is so fascinating. And I think that they could have approached the gender dynamics of the Wheel of Time with a lens that I think could have been really fascinating. Yeah,
their perspective is unique in this.
And they would have brought, like, the sky, like, Baalzamon and Rand in the sky fighting above the battle below is something that they have an eye for, that I think it would have been, whatever they would have done to make that physically happen on screen would have blown me away.
Yeah, I 100% agree with you.
And, like, even, like, I think, like, Jupiter Ascending is not their best movie, right? It's a little all over the place, but, like, what the scope of it does, the story that they tell, the visuals of it, like, I think even that film, which I struggle with plot-wise a little bit, and some of the dialogue, the scope and the storytelling of it is so incredible. And I just think that they would have had a really interesting take on the gender dynamics of this world just because of their perspective. And I would love to see what they do with a fantasy world, because that, you know, they've done so much sci-fi. I think seeing them do fantasy would have been really interesting. At the time, there's not a lot of other directors I would give this to other than them. Yeah. People are saying James Cameron. I do not need this with explosions. James Cameron's amazing. I have nothing against James Cameron. I just you know, I don't need unobtainium in Wheel of Time. No, you don't. No, you sure? We already have the stuff. Quendalar? That's the one. Yeah. I picture it in my head every time I see it, and it confuses the shit out of me, because I'm like, spelling is tough. Kirilinadar. Like, I can't. Dakuna brings up Sense8. Honestly, like the storytelling, the scope of the storytelling in Sense8 tells me they would have done a really interesting, it tells me they would have done a really interesting Wheel of Time show. I think Sense8 is really kind of brilliant.
Yeah, it would have been it would have been unique for sure.
CJ Clark, thank you for that super chat. Sort of confirmed Andor and Kyrian are combined. Great. How does that make sense? No clue.
Yeah, I guess we'll find out.
So wait, never mind. I don't know, guys. Sure.
Yeah.
I've also heard that like Leandrin and Aleda might be combined into one thing. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, okay.
Sure.
I guess that's a spoiler that Aleda's a dark friend later on in the books. I don't know. I feel like season 2 is going to spoil a lot of the later books for us for this show.
You think so?
Yeah, I think season 2 is going to pull a lot from later books.
I mean,
try and like twist the narrative into something they can do in 8 seasons.
It might be one of those things where it's like, did the books actually, like, is that actually from the books, or did they kind of like make it work?
CGN Nefarious says Zack Snyder would be interesting. Zack Snyder would have been interesting in like the late 2000s, not the early 2000s. You know what I mean? Like 2010 Zack Snyder would make a very interesting Wheel of Time. I don't know if it would be good, but it would be interesting.
Yeah, it'd be interesting. Mm-hmm.
I don't know though. 300 is pretty solid.
300 is the only Zack Snyder film that I kind of like.
Okay, but let's go down this road. Zack Snyder's 300, Rand and Perrin would be so jacked.
Those shoulders would definitely be recognizable from 3 kilometers away.
They would be wearing nothing. There would be so much baby oil. Egwene would be so like just naked. Everyone would be naked all the time.
Everyone would be oily and naked. And the combat would be dope. But yeah.
Oh, it would be beautiful, but like yeah. Zack Snyder's version would have way more sex than the Amazon show does, and it already has a lot of sex. Yeah. Lan would be literally like a Greek god of physique.
Yeah. Oh my god. Oh man.
Orchidea brings up that Watchmen follows it follows the book. Kind of. I have strong opinions about Watchmen, but the thing I will say about Zack Snyder is he does a really good job of taking comic panels and just shooting them. He does. Like 300 and Watchmen are both and Batman v Superman are incredible recreations of comic panels on celluloid. Like it is like
I have not seen it, so yeah.
Yeah. He you can like read Watchmen and watch the movie and be like, oh, okay, yeah. You literally, this was your storyboard.
Yeah.
And that is to the benefit of the movies at times and to the detriment of movies at other times.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
Yeah.
Should we grab that next question?
Yeah, let's do it. Where was I? ID versus id versus ego. Yep, I understand psychology. When you do a rewatch, do you think the experience will be better or worse than when you watched it without the book info?
So I said, I mean, it's probably going to be about the same. Might be a little worse just because now I like kind of know where things are going, and I'm like, is that gonna happen?
The other Nat5 says Kevin Smith. Kevin Smith's Wheel of Time would be terrible. And I say that as someone who has seen almost every single one of Kevin Smith's shows live at least once. Uh-huh. I love Kevin Smith. I've seen every Kevin Smith movie. Mm-hmm. I listen to his podcast weekly. Kevin Smith would make a terrible Wheel of Time, and you know who would agree with me? Kevin Smith. Without a doubt. He would go, no, that's too hard. I'm not going to do that much work, and he would not do it at all.
He's like, nah.
Although, Kevin Smith, I really liked his Masters of the Universe, so if Kevin Smith were to showrun a Wheel of Time animated show, I would be very interested in seeing it.
That's fair.
But I don't think that Kevin Smith has the patience to read 14 books, and so he would never touch this. It's too big.
Yeah, unless he has like already read it, I can't see it happening.
Mm-hmm. So the rewatch thing. You think you will enjoy the show less?
Yeah, just because my brain is gonna be like, okay, but how?
Yeah.
How are they going to? And I don't know where it's going, and so that I think will be like a little bit distracting. But like I said, the show brought me so much joy at the end of last year. The finale was a little bit rough, but there's so many things that I did like about it, and so I don't think it's gonna affect it too much. Guy Ritchie's Wheel of Time.
Guy Ritchie's Wheel of Time? Okay. I'm the one person that didn't hate his King Arthur movie.
Which one is his King Arthur movie? Is that the one with
Arthur and the Legend of the Sword or something like that?
Oh, so it's not
It's
the one
recent.
with Keira Knightley.
I don't think so. I don't remember her being in it.
Okay, so it's not that one.
I actually, the way that Guy Ritchie used slow motion and then speed up in the fight sequences in that King Arthur movie.
Okay, it's definitely not.
I watched it. Okay, admittedly, I've only seen it once. It was on a 13-hour flight to Japan. It was the 5th movie in a row that I had watched, and I was hammered. I love his King Arthur movie, but I do want to be honest about the state I was in when I watched it.
Right.
I can't sleep on flights, so flying to Japan was a nightmare for me. But I think that I will find rewatching
David Lynch's Wheel of Time.
Okay. But say what you will. Say what you will about David Lynch's Wheel of Time.
No. I know.
Flicker scene would be
rad.
Insane.
Yeah.
It would break you.
Yeah.
It would, honestly, the flicker scene would be talked about in film school for the rest of time.
True.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I would agree with that. I'm going to 100% agree with that.
Christopher Nolan's would be the most boring.
Nah,
I'm a fan of a lot of Christopher Nolan's movies.
Mm-hmm.
No.
We got some questions to get through.
We do. I think on a rewatch, there's a lot that I'll be very interested in. But I don't know. It's really going to depend on season 2. Yeah. I think the finale of season 1 is not good. Mm-hmm. It's a bad episode of television. It just like, and not in like a like, oh, it's different from the book, but in a like fundamentals of filmmaking, there are elements of it that are just poorly shot. The VFX are bad. The time when things happen is so weird, and the unnecessary time jumps throughout the episode. The lighting changes are so drastic and odd. Mm-hmm. The combat is so like poorly realized and just doesn't make sense within any form of medieval combat I've ever heard of.
Yeah.
And so the finale of season 1 is not good. And I like the first 7 episodes of the show, right? Yeah. Like I've said that very publicly.
Yeah, that middle section is strong.
Yeah, I like it. And I like the step and stuff because I thought it was a strong story. I like the actor who played it. Yeah. I know that like it's from the prequel and that like people don't like that it was shoved into season 1. Without having read the books, I really liked the step in episode. I thought it was really interesting to learn about land.
I agree with that.
But the finale's really bad.
Yeah.
And it ends bad with the tidal wave that just doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
And so I think that like rewatching the show to me, because we've already rewatched it once, and even the first rewatch, the fall off for that finale was really tough to watch. Mm-hmm. And the second season just has it has so much work to do to pull me back in from the finale, while also having this like weird plan to meld these 2 books into one book. Like, I don't really see how they do it.
Yeah.
I don't envy the position they're in. I think they're in a really tough spot in terms of creating a second season of the show. Mm-hmm. But I honestly, a rewatch is just hampered by the finale.
Yeah.
Even more so than the book. Just knowing that that's how the first season ends is really tough for me.
Yeah, I have to agree. Storm, thank you so much for that super chat.
Storm says, on the topic of rewatching, are you looking forward to rereading these books?
We're not there yet. We're like 2 years away from that at least.
Dude, I don't know. I might not. By the time we get to the end of these books, I probably won't read them until I'll finish these in my 30 year, and then I'll reread in my 40 year. I think I'll come back to this in a decade. Because it's going to be an undertaking.
Yeah, there's a lot, and so we're not quite there yet. But I know for a fact that throughout the span of our lives, we will definitely reread these and enjoy them a lot. For sure.
Yeah. It's just a little slower.
Yeah. CJ Clark, thank you as well for that super chat.
I love this. It's rumored that Guy Ritchie will adapt Sanderson, and I just love the idea of Guy Ritchie directing Sanderson, and it's like, and it's Jason Statham, and he walks out and he's like, "Hello, welcome to the Cosmere. Here in the Cosmere we do magic, and I'm gonna explain how we do it. All right, what you do is you wake up in the morning, you grab some metal, you eat that metal, and then you do magic. Let's do a heist." And like, I want that movie. That sounds great. That sounds really fun.
Sure.
Welcome to the Cosmere. My name's Jason Statham. And like, it's not even like a character from the Cosmere. It is Jason Statham playing Jason Statham in the Cosmere.
I love it.
Yeah.
Dakuna says they would love to rewatch the show where we have a hot mic and we're watching it simultaneously and listening to us plus the show.
We could do that. We could do like live commentary. We wouldn't be able to, you guys would have to like start the show at the right time on your end and watch it yourselves because we couldn't record the audio, but we could do something like that at some point.
Yeah, the problem with those kinds of videos, they're fun, they're great, and we'd love to do it, but the whole copyright thing of it does get tricky.
I'm just picturing Wheel of Time in Guy Ritchie's style, and like it is so funny.
Oh god.
Like I just picture Lan being played by Jason Statham, and he's like, sometimes, Rand, you gotta sheathe the sword. You gotta take that sword. You gotta stab it right in your nutsack. And that's how you win.
Wow, alright. That's the smut corner that I wanted to see.
Titanic, I have not read Brandon Sanderson. Everything I just said about a Brandon Sanderson novel, I know from TikTok. Because of Wheel of Time, I'm now on Brandon Sanderson TikTok.
Thank you,
that. I hear a lot about the Cosmere. I have no idea what it is. I just know that people eat metal and then shoot magic out of their hands. That is my entire understanding of the Cosmere. Probably not accurate.
I love that.
Let's get back to the Wheel of Time. Deshiva asked a bunch of questions. But
yeah, we're gonna pull out a couple here. We already talked about.
We've already talked about a couple of them. We talked about the magic system. Are there any other supernatural gifts like Perrin and Huron's that you think would be fun in this world?
I mean, I don't know. It's tough, right? Because we already have Min, we already have Huron, we already have Perrin. There's like 3 like pretty big major ones already. I don't know how much more that they're gonna introduce. I feel like it's fun to have them, and you know, with the boys being Ta'veren, it makes sense that they're all like interconnected and we get to see those people, but I think that they're pretty uncommon.
Do you think that Podrick from Game of Thrones, do you think that he had like a supernatural penis? Do you think that like his sexual prowess was,
I mean, there are dragons.
Ta'veren?
So yeah, sure.
Not Podrick as a human, just his penis was Ta'veren.
Just his penis was Ta'veren?
Yeah.
Yeah, I buy that. That makes sense to me, for sure. Oh my
god. Why do people watch this show?
I don't know.
All right.
To the next question.
The troop is hunting Fane all the way to Tom and Head. They managed to recover the horn and dagger, but Fane remains at large. Why was Fane determined to go there instead of taking the horn to Shai Al Ghul? What is his agenda now? Dude, I have no idea.
Well, there's no, like, Fane has no reason to take the horn to Shai Al Ghul, right? Like, he's not like a dark friend anymore. Like, he's working for his own.
Yeah, but I don't
purposes,
understand the whole Tom and Head thing. I think it's because I still think the Wheel needs the Dragon Reborn to announce himself before the Watchers on the Waves, who are the Sanshin, right? So I think like that was, I don't think that Fane was necessarily fully in control of that. I think it ended up working towards what he wanted to accomplish in his life.
Yeah.
But I think that was, the, what am I gesturing? I think that was the wheel. The circle. the wheel. I think the wheel got him to Tom and Head because the prophecy of the Dragon Reborn needed him there. I don't think Fane had like a specific reason to go to Tom and Head outside of prophecy and Ta'veren-ness.
Yeah,
because it doesn't seem like it seems like he met the Sanshin and then like made a plan. It didn't seem, because he had to learn about the Sanshin from like the people he was killing along the way. It didn't feel like Fane was like, oh, I'm going to Tom and Head because I know the Sanshin are going to be there.
The whole Tom and Head thing, it just seemed like a prophecy thing, and so that's where it. Yeah.
Deshiva 7 asks, with Rand seemingly being the Dragon Reborn, Moiraine ends her decade-long search. Still, she hasn't done and is already working on the next step. What is her next move? And also, Moiraine's path from the show is going to be very different. So, where's she going in the show? And I think that we can kind of nail 2 birds with 1 stone, because I think that Moiraine specifically has said that it's not that she's trying to find the Dragon Reborn. It is that she is standing against the Dark One at every point, or something like that.
Her life's purpose is to thwart the Dark One. Whatever he wants, she prevents it.
So I think that's her next goal. Is just she knows the Dragon Reborn is the only one who can actually do what her goal is, right? And so I think it's just like keep him from going mad, keep him safe, keep him from going to bed with Lanfear.
So I wonder, do you think that Moiraine, because she wants to do because her ultimate goal is to stop whatever the Dark One wants to happen. Do you think that makes her more easily manipulated?
Moiraine?
Yeah. Like it just
That's tough.
It just seems to me like I can see in several books from now, Moiraine thinking she's doing the right thing, but it's exactly what the Dark One thinks that's exactly what the Dark One wants her to do, because he knows, like, he fed her enough information to have her think that it's what he wanted. I don't know. I could definitely see, like, Moiraine.
I don't know.
And then I know you think Moiraine is going to die, and she sacrifices herself to then right the wrongs that she did by accident.
I think I don't know. I think that Moiraine has done a really good job of, like, double checking her sources.
Sure, yeah.
Like, she, like, gets information from one place and then she goes somewhere else to make sure that it's the right information. So I don't know. I could see it happening, but
I don't know, just like kind of like theory I have.
Yeah, I don't know. I like that.
Sam, thank you so much for that super chat.
Audiobooks are tough for me.
They're tough for me as well. I like them. I have to have read a book first before I can listen to the audiobook. I get way too distracted by visual things that if I only have something going on, like if I only have audio, I
will like start an audiobook while I'm doing dishes, and then I will realize that I don't know what the last 20 minutes of the audiobook were.
Yeah.
So I just miss too much.
Yeah. I love books because it forces me to, like, visually concentrate, but I just get distracted very easily. I have listened to audiobooks and I do enjoy them, but only books that I have already read. So it just is tough. I know that the Wheel of Time, a lot of people are big fans of the audiobooks, so.
I feel like...
Yeah.
All right, you start answering the next question. I need to look something up. Earlier, there were plenty of references to the Lord of the Rings from... what do you think is going to happen with Moiraine in season 2?
Oh, I don't know. She's been, like, not stilled, but, like, she's been, like, shielded or something. It seems like she's been shielded, and I don't know where they're going with that, because there's nothing in these books that even suggest to me that is, like, a possibility of happening to her. So I don't know if they're pulling from super, like, far ahead future storylines that then she's going to fulfill, but, like, it seems weird. I think Moiraine has to get her power back, because otherwise because she's supposed to be one of the most powerful channelers. And so, I mean, she's with Rand right now. Maybe she goes with Rand to the... But then she's not in the show. In the show, I have absolutely no idea, and I don't even know where to start with that.
I think the next time we see her is going to be at I think she's going to go to that library house. And I think that it's going to, in the show, it's going to serve the double service of her finding out the prophecies of the Dragon Reborn. I think it's also going to be she's going to go to them for knowledge about how she's being shielded, and if there are any prophecies or anything that can, like, help her, like, unshield herself or unstill herself or whatever. I don't think Moiraine is, like, never going to use magic again. So I think that season 2 is going to deal with whatever is up with her. I think that the fight over when Rand kills Ba'alzamon over Falme, I think that whatever is going on with Moiraine will be broken.
Yeah. I can see the tying those things together would be. I don't know how she gets, like, not shielded, at least, but yeah. And then in the book, I don't know. It feels weird that she would go to the Aiel Waste, but I do think that's where Rand is headed. So I'm not sure.
I think she'll have her powers back by the time they go to the Aiel Waste.
In the show, yeah.
Matthew S., thank you for that super chat. Rafe said that they did that to Moiraine since she doesn't have much to do in book 2. Rafe keeps saying that they do things to characters because they don't have much to do, and there's so much in these books, and he doesn't have a lot of time. So I don't know what Rafe is saying. I would love to talk to Rafe about that.
Yeah.
Because he said this. He's like, well, we killed Perrin's wife the way that we did because we wanted to, like, jumpstart Perrin's story arc.
But then they didn't. But then he has no story arc.
And then they did the same thing with Matt to, like, jumpstart his story arc, and they made Egwene Ta'Veren to, like, make her more important to the story, but it kind of, like, took away her story arc.
Yeah.
And so I keep seeing interviews like that, and I don't hate the choice to shield Moiraine. Like, I think it's interesting, and I think that it does give her something to do. But she does plenty in book 2, and also it's going to be 8 episodes of television. So I don't really
Well, she
understand
doesn't really
that.
do anything in book 2. She's not.
She does.
present.
She's gonna get attacked by a drag car. Like
She has one scene. Yeah. I'm not saying she like has like.
No, but I'm saying that one scene is enough, right? Like, she's gonna get everyone to Tarvalon.
She could also in season 2 take the place of Varen, right?
But if you think of this book as only the first 4 episodes, her going to the library is enough for her to do in 4 episodes. Mm-hmm. Although it's Rosamund Pike, you want her to be in every episode, but like,
it just like is weird because they have this whole other thing to fulfill, and I'm like, you have so much else to do already.
Yeah,
like,
it's a big thing to deal with in season 2. On top of the 2 books that you're trying to squeeze in where that doesn't happen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jerry Khan says there are plenty of references early on to Lord of the Rings.
Mm-hmm.
How do you see the comparisons or the diversion from it now?
Turvok, thank you for that super chat.
Turvok, thank
just
you
saying
so
that
much.
Dragon Reborn will have will help us figure out where season 2 might go.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Thank you for that. We appreciate it.
Gotcha. Thank you. Okay. Cool.
Lord of the Rings, not a lot of Lord of the Rings in book 2.
No. It was nice to have, and we talked about it, that it felt like an homage, that it wasn't like copying or like weird in any way, but it's definitely diverged.
Book 2 definitely deals more in real world mythologies, though. Like the Uther Pendrag, Arthur Hawkwing becomes such a big thing. Like the book 2 really does peddle in a lot of real world stories that we are aware of. Mm-hmm. That are, I think, even more so than book 1. Mm-hmm. The Lord of the Rings references are kind of traded in for like King Arthur references.
Yeah, I agree. There's definitely a lot of that for a reason, I'm sure.
Storm D wants to know if we're going to react to comments on the predictions we made for book 2 plot at the end of book 1. Do you know where that document is?
I have that. So, do you want to do that now, or do you want to save that all till the end?
We've seen. No, we can do that now. Let's get into it.
Okay.
Predictions. Let's talk our predictions from the end of book 1.
So, prediction: Tarvalon will be a major location in the Great Hunt.
Yeah. It was.
Yes. Yeah.
The Nynaeve scene, the Egwene scene, the Leandrin kidnapping them from it. Like, yeah, Tarvalon was a huge part of the book.
Yeah.
Not like pages wise, but like for events, very important.
Yeah, there's a lot of information there.
Yeah.
Egwene will have to deal with Rand leaving her.
Not really. She's really okay with that. Yeah. I thought she was gonna be more upset with Rand taking off, but
the dreams are interesting though.
Well, but also in the show, I think that was a prediction for the show, because he does not go back to them in the show. Whereas in the book, they do spend that time together, and then they leave at the same time from Faldara after having spent the previous night hanging out. So I think the book and the show are going to have very different relationships to that specific thing.
You said that Perrin will get Matt to Tarvalon.
But he does. I was right, just in a roundabout way. Because Perrin gets Matt to the dagger. Because even Rand, Huron, and Loyal leave them and go ahead, right? And Perrin is with Matt the whole time.
But Perrin stays with Rand.
Oh, you're right. Yeah, at the end of the book. Yeah. Perrin does not go to Tarvalon with them, which is good for Perrin.
He does help get him the dagger back, but he does not take him to Tarvalon, so that's...
Right. No, you're very correct. Interesting. I was wrong.
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense with what happened. Next one Rand has a crush on is going to be Lanfear / Lanfear Reborn.
What?
You said the next woman Rand has a crush on is going to be Lanfear, which...
Crushed it. Got him good.
These are like early predictions.
Well, but that one's easy, right? Because I think in the first book we learned... Or no, maybe that was in the second book. Yeah, no, I crushed that one.
Egwene will spend a few books learning at the White Tower. Tough to know. I still hold that that's a good prediction. I think that they're gonna learn some stuff. Rand will get the dagger on Tommen head, but not the horn.
Wait, I said? Wait, how do you know I said it?
Because it's been kept track of.
Wait, but these are all me. Did you say anything?
No, yours are first, and then mine.
Okay. I did not expect Matt to blow the horn of Tarvalon, or of blow the horn of Valir.
Yeah, Matt's like, hold my beer, I got this.
Okay, so we're only going through my predictions right now.
Yeah, yours are first.
Okay. Did you lose it?
Yep, sorry. I
Unprofessional.
went back for a moment, and then here we go. I just want to say thank you, Albino, for
thank you so much for cataloging these
together. This is
oh, and they're even like checking them off.
Hey, I see you.
Professionalism. I wish you guys could see. Wait, we can't. We have a camera. Look at this. Greens and reds. Look at this shit. Professional. This is a professional outfit.
I love it. Yeah, so your predictions are all first. Rand will break the seal on Tommen's head, like Bail Doman's piece of current.
He might have been the one to do it. When he when he stabbed Baalzamon, that might have been what broke the seal. So I think I was right about that one as well.
Yeah, that one we don't. I don't feel
the seal did break in the moment, so I think my prediction was right. And another seal. Importantly, 2 seals broke in that moment.
Rand and ship captain will meet up on Tommenhead and get back together to Ilion. No.
Oh, but so close.
So close, I know.
So close.
I know.
Oh, that hurts. That prediction hurts because I was...
I know. And I thought that was what was going to happen. You also said the horn will go to Ilion. That is not the case.
Because the horn's going to Tarvalon. Yeah.
Changuin Nidao, I don't know actually how to pronounce it, freed Padden Fane. The 2 soldiers who died...
Yes, that was correct, wasn't it? No, yeah, that was correct.
They free him.
Yeah, and then they fled.
The jailers.
They fled the city.
The jailers. Right. Sheathing the sword is going to be a heartbreaking moment. Not really.
Not heartbreaking.
Not yet, though. I honestly think that the sheathing the sword definitely comes back. I think that happens.
I think Rand sheathes many swords.
Jesus Christ.
He's going to have 3 women in his life, okay? He's sheathing his sword a lot.
Oh, my God. So there's a bunch of other predictions we've made, such as, like... Rand will have a warder, or like
that's gonna be later.
Aja. Yeah. Those are all like later things. This one was made by me. Rand will go off and find the Aiel, maybe by accident, looking for answers regarding his father and his sword. Not really. He's pretty much resolved.
Runs into them.
He does run into them by accident. Yeah. But no, he's pretty much resolved that.
I don't know. I think you're right. He runs into them by accident. Light Blinded Fool, thank you so much for that super chat. Now that Matt has blown the horn, will he keep doing so? Matt, I could use a hand sandwich, blows the horn. Hawkwing, lunch!
Butler! Could you imagine? Oh my God. Yeah. I can definitely see. Well, because here's the thing.
I think that Matt will blow it again at the final battle.
I agree, because Baalzamon says, you blew the horn, you're tied to it now. But then Rand is like, oh, I didn't blow the horn. He didn't like.
I feel like Matt keeps getting tied to objects.
Yeah, seriously.
Kinky.
He's yeah. Mm-hmm.
All right, next.
Cool stuff will happen with the Aiel. Good job, Claris. Well done on that prediction. In the Great Hunt, that was wrong. Well, we had one.
No, all the Aiel stuff was kind of lame.
Yeah,
and the one Aiel on the road that was like, "Hey," and they were like, "All right, dude, bye."
No,
and
that
like,
was
later.
That. Yeah, that I'm gonna say.
I didn't think we get cool Aiel shit yet.
Moiraine will take the others to the White Tower.
Yes.
Yeah, well, the girls.
She does, yeah.
I guess, yeah. Take some of them.
She didn't go all the way with them, but.
At the White Tower, Nynaeve will learn to trust Moiraine. It hasn't happened yet, so I'm gonna say probably not. Perrin will become a hunter for the Horn. Technically, yes, he was with the crew, I guess. So
yeah, that's true.
I guess that's technically correct.
Yeah.
The person shooting the arrow at Swancess Rand could be the Shineran from the Dark Friend social.
No, I think that's Ingtar at the social, and he lets that person in to...
You think Ingtar was at the social?
Well, yeah, because he's a Dark Friend, he's Shineran. Yeah, okay, I think that was Ingtar, right? Who else would it be?
Interesting. It's hard to know. That prediction is kind of like, I'm not 100% sure on that one.
I think it's definitely Ingtar, right? Because for them to introduce that there was a Shineran there, and then the Shineran later in the book tells you that he's a Dark Friend, I just don't think it would make sense. And he says that he was told to let the person in. So like that would have been where he was told to let the person in. So I think that's
most likely
that's him, yeah.
The ways will not be used for a while. I was wrong.
Yeah, Leandrin can get through.
Very wrong. The Horn of Valir will be blown in the Great Hunt. I was correct about that.
Yep. I'm still shocked at that, by the way. That they blew the horn in the second book.
Oh, this one is me. Selena's trapped in the parallel world. Still don't really have confirmation on that, but it doesn't seem like it. You said she's pretending to be trapped. We still don't have confirmation
Oh, no,
on
she's
that.
100% pretending to be trapped. She gets out as soon as she wants.
I said Ingtar was going to die, and I was very correct on that one.
Yeah, you called Ingtar's death.
I did call that.
Mm-hmm.
Rand, Matt, and Perrin will not be separated for long, but Egwene and Nynaeve will not join them for a while. Rand, Matt,
I was
and
right.
Perrin, yeah.
No, I was 100% right on that.
Yep, you were.
That is my win.
Yeah, you also said Leandrin was a red herring, not a black Aja.
I was very wrong about that. I was very wrong.
Rand, Matt, and Perrin will escape from Falm to Tarvalon with ship captain Ship.
Nope, I was or one of us was. I don't know who that was, but
that was you. Yeah.
Yep. I really thought they were getting on ship captain Ship at the end of this. I thought they were sailing off into the sunset.
You did say that Turok would die by the end of the book, and
Turok Makto.
You were correct.
Turok Makto.
At the end of the Great Hunt, Rand will be proclaimed as the Dragon Reborn.
Yeah.
Kind of. Yeah. Yeah.
There is chalk art. Okay, it happened.
There's chalk. At the showdown of the Great Hunt, Rand's party will clash with the White Cloaks, the Sanchens, and Padan Fane.
Padan Fane is running, but yeah, other than that.
But other
correct.
than that, I would say that is mostly correct.
Yeah.
So yeah, those are all the predictions.
Interesting. I'm excited. This list is so long, and there's so many that are like not yet. So we have plenty more predictions.
Yeah, there's so many in here.
Yeah, I really it's everyone who's been working on this list. Thank you so much. It's unbelievable.
I believe it's albino, so I just want to say thank you.
Yeah, albino. Thank you
so much for
thank
that. And that list is in the Discord if you would like to look at it yourselves. We have a couple more questions.
Alana says, if Rand could only end up with one person, who would Nerdy and Clarence want that person to be? Min. Right now it's Min. Or Lanfear. I like the enemies to lovers trope. So I think it would be fun if like Rand could turn Lanfear to the light by the end.
If Lanfear actually has a heart.
Yeah. I think that'd be fun. Like do Lanfear becomes the like Kylo Ren of this story.
Okay, all right.
And they like end up together. But like obviously he gets 3, so like Min, Lanfear, and Elaine.
You get the best of both worlds.
Yeah, I mean Min. I love him and Min together, but like that also feels a little easy because like Min really wants it, and
she like is mad that she wants it, which is very funny.
Yeah, but I feel like that's like that's just relationships. You're like, God damn it.
Yeah.
Especially like women with like men in their like their college years, where they're like, am I really gonna sleep with this guy who doesn't have a headboard? And he only has one pillow on it. I am gonna.
Like,
yes.
When did he last wash his sheets? I don't know.
Yeah. Pandora asks, which character is your favorite at this point and why?
Oh my gosh. That's a really hard question.
Yeah, I mean, Min is up there for me. Book 2 Min, I really, really liked.
I agree for sure.
I find myself thinking about Book 2 Min a lot since we've finished the reading. No, just from the sense of like...
I'm teasing.
Min and Loyal are the 2 characters that feel the most like this adventure is like inconveniencing them, but is also exciting. And I find their relationship to the story that they're a part of so fascinating. And so the two of them stick out to me because, you know, Rand, it's fun that Rand is being pulled in this direction he doesn't want to go in. But I love Min like is like, oh, God damn it, I don't want that. I'm coming. I want to acknowledge this is a bad idea. I want to acknowledge that I see danger. But like, I'm on board, right? And I'm really enjoying Min in this.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think she's great.
Yeah, I agree. I was gonna try to like find a different answer, but like I really like Min.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, honestly, like I miss Moiraine and Lan in this book.
Yeah, their presence, their like lack of presence, I think is definitely felt for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Tithanis asks, kind of to the same point, your opinion on which character has changed the most from the TV show to the books and from book 1 to book 2?
Changed the most.
I think Perrin, Matt, and Egwene are the 3 who feel the most different in terms of the show.
Yeah.
To me, from the show to the books.
Yeah.
But from book 1 to book 2, the biggest change is Nynaeve.
From book, yes.
I feel like Nynaeve has become a completely different person in the second half of this book.
So, which POV do you find most or least interesting?
The most interesting is Rand because he has the most like full picture of what's going on, right?
Right.
And you know, Rand, he's the main character. Like I just think his point of view chapters are like deliberately deliberately important at all times. The least Bornhold. I'm so glad that we're done with his. I never gave a shit about his point of view chapters.
Yeah.
I'm sure that everything we learn in those chapters will be interesting later, but every time he showed up, particularly because I didn't understand the geography of the world and I didn't really know where he was, I just didn't really care.
Yeah. I think the most interesting chapters for me are Nynaeve's. Because she is such a strong personality, but also like the magic stuff that is going on is really interesting.
She just disappears for so much of this book. Like there is a third in the middle of this book where all of the women at the White Tower they're just gone, and then they reappear for they're in a huge chunk at the end. But there is a chunk of this book where Nynaeve, Egwene, Elaine, Min, like all of that just is not there for like 10 chapters.
Yeah, no, I agree, and it's tough, but I think that's why I like the Nynaeve chapters because they feel like a treat. I don't know. Like,
yeah, that's
like I don't get this often, but I find it fascinating.
Storm D asks, who is your favorite villain antagonist so far? Do you find yourself oddly sympathizing with any in a way you enjoy? Who do you really love to hate? For me personally, I think like the villain that I find the most fascinating is Patton Fane. Like I think that
I agree.
In terms of writing, in terms of motivation, in terms of like style and flair, I just think Patton Fane he's already gone through so many different iterations of his character in just 2 books, and I don't like empathize with him. That's not true.
He's fascinating.
I pity Patton Fane for what was
done to him.
What's been done to him, right? And I think that I don't think he had very much choice in any of it, right?
But, yeah. He was like, I'm gonna be selfish for like a second, and then the dark one was like, I'm gonna take this and run with it, and it is his fault, but also like I still feel bad for him for sure. Dakuna would like to know, there's a common complaint that the writing is that the women POVs and relationships aren't well written. It's never jumped up to them personally, but do we have any thoughts about the women's POV chapters?
I get it. I get the complaint. I think there's times when the women are... I think like Book 1 Nynaeve is a really good example of that, right? Like I think that Book 1 Nynaeve, the reason why there's such a big jump between Book 1 Nynaeve and Book 2 Nynaeve is that, and even like early Book 1 Nynaeve or Book 2 Nynaeve is still kind of the same, is they're a little bit obvious sometimes. There's not a lot of like subtext. And so like the lack of subtext, I think in Nynaeve's character for the first like, 3/4 of what we've read so far, appears to be a lack of intelligence on her part. Where like she has this like slightly nefarious goal of like learning magic to like hurt Moiraine, and everyone can kind of see it because she telegraphs it. I understand the complaint. I think that there are definitely some chapters where the women are written super complex. I think some of the I think some a lot of the great. Egwene Min stuff where that went with Adam, I think is wonderful and so cool. Yeah. I think like the way that Egwene blows up when they get on the street where she won't go back, like I think that was all written really well. At the same time, I also think that like Nynaeve just like figuring out the Adam was convenient and quick, and like those chapters were a little bit kind of like, all right, like yeah, okay, she can just do it, that's fine, but it's not my favorite way to get to the end of the story.
I think it's a valid criticism, but I can't say that it really like jumped out to me as being like jarringly disparate, right, between like male POV chapters and female POV
because some of the male POV chapters aren't great either. There is some clunky writing. As much as I love Robert Jordan's writing style, the way that he writes his characters sometimes is clunky though. And I have a feeling that I don't want to speak for him, obviously, and he's not with us to speak for it anymore. I have a feeling that some of especially in Book 1, some of the magic systems that he created, he didn't really have a plan for.
A 14-book plan for it?
Yeah, and I feel like he found... I have a feeling that it got stronger later on, and I feel like there will be a point where we like feel it settle, but it just feels a little unsettled right now at times, and so...
It's got that like hype and like excitement, but sometimes that makes things a little clunky, and But I think that adds to the charm of it in a way. Like there's so much love in these books.
Yeah. Oh no, I'm really enjoying it.
There is a fun question. Bits asked in the chat. This, yeah. Okay. Who would you most want in your D&D party? And who would you most want to play as a character?
I honestly I think the most fun to play for me would be Perrin or Tom. I like bards and I like druids. And so being like a wolf brother druid I think would be a lot of fun.
Druid, interesting.
Like with or like maybe ranger. Probably a ranger would be a better
it's tough because it could be ranger, it could be druid. You could argue that it's.
I would do my Jackson Jones build from the D&D set, the one shot we did, where I am and I would have a pet wolf instead of a pet raccoon.
Yeah. All right, that's fun. Honestly, out of any of them, like who would I want on my D&D team? I don't know if I would want Nynaeve. She'd be super powerful, but like.
She would always want to do her own thing.
But
Nynaeve would always be splitting the party.
Yeah. I would want if I were in a D&D campaign, I would want Egwene with me. Egwene seems like delightful. You know what I mean? Like just she wants to be there. She cares about people. She seems like she's good company. That's who I would invite on my D&D campaign.
What? Okay. So. What magic within D&D would you consider the one power to be closest to?
What magic? Do you mean like the class of like...
Yeah, like what would an Aes Sedai's class be? Because I don't think they're a wizard.
No, well,
they're almost kind of a cleric. Or like, it's almost like paladin magic in a way.
It's definitely not warlock, because a warlock is like a pact with like a higher being. Although you could argue that maybe the wheel and the one power is a higher being, but that makes it very complicated. I think sorcerer is the one that is most comparable. Yeah. I
know, but I think that like my brain goes cleric because the one power seems to be tied to the creator, which is where it like pulls like cleric for me. But
I get that, but
maybe it's not as tied to the wheel as I think.
Maybe. Yeah,
this would be a weird world to play D&D in.
It'd be so fun.
It'd be fun for someone to build that. We should do a Wheel of
Time
D&D campaign. A live play Wheel of Time, a live play campaign set in the Wheel of Time.
Oh my god. The thing is, we can't do it until we're done reading all the books.
Yeah.
So that we have a full understanding. That would be so cool. Okay. Mm-hmm.
It also has it has an elemental aspect. That's true. It does have an elemental aspect.
There is a Wheel of Time RPG.
There is. Oh, interesting.
Like a tabletop RPG?
Channelers are really overpowered. Yeah, you would have to deal with that. Although, no, because if your party is all warders...
If your class that you can choose is Aes Sedai, warders, and like Aes Sedai is basically like a sorcerer.
Wolf brother.
You can choose Wolf brother.
If your party... So say we had like 4 players and guests, right? Mm-hmm. We could have an Aes Sedai, a Wolf brother, warder, and bard.
And a bard.
And that could be the team of 4. Or 5.
I feel like the bard and the rogue, like I feel like Tom Marilyn is a bard and a rogue kind of rolled into one. But
oh my god, the homebrew we could do for this would be so fun.
And you could have a paladin like White Cloak as like villain. You could use the paladin as like the build for.
Oh, like, you could do.
Oh my god. Okay, sorry. Just don't mind us. Travok, thank you so much for that super chat.
Thank you so much, Travok. Did you realize Robert Jordan is a pen name? His real name was James Rigney.
No, I didn't know
really?
That. I didn't know that.
I would have kept James Rigney. I feel like James Rigney is a more interesting name. He kind of went with and nothing against Robert Jordan, but he went from having like a name to having 2 first names. And 2 first names is always weird to me.
Yeah.
Oh, the Black Aja would be so fun.
Yeah. Sorry, you mentioned D&D.
We've been kind of thinking about doing like a live play podcast show on Twitch.
Mm-hmm.
And basing it in the Wheel of Time universe would be really fun.
Yeah, that would be cool.
And setting it like a year before this, where like Logain has started to rise up. Like you could like really, there could be a lot of fun.
Oh yeah. The possibilities.
Endless. Anyway, we have a couple more questions. Tithanisk asks, in the prologue to The Great Hunt, the character of Bors identifies... I love that we're starting with the beginning. Or we're ending with the beginning.
Yes.
Bors identifies several persons. There's 2 Aes Sedai and a Shienaran warrior at the very least. We obviously said we think that the Shienaran was Ingtar.
Yeah, I think it makes
Who do you
sense.
think the other... Because obviously Leandrin was one of the Aes Sedai.
Sure, but there's definitely another one.
Who do you think it is?
You think it's... Staff.
Oh my god, who is the right
Can't
hand
remember her name.
of
Oh
the
God.
Amelin seat?
Yeah, the right hand of the Amerlin.
Because I don't think it's Swan. Based on the show. I think this show's kind of spoiled that it's not Swan, right?
Yeah, no.
That would be a crazy betrayal, though, if it was.
I don't know. I don't think we've met the other one yet.
Leanne. I think it's Leanne. I think that
that's her
Leanne
name.
is a Black Asha. I think that's how Leandrin was able to do so much in the White Tower to get the girls out. Was able to like move around the White Tower so freely, get the girls out. I think that it's Leanne.
Oh, God, I hope not. I think it's someone that we haven't met yet, and I'm gonna hold to that. Just because.
I don't know. I hope it's not Aleda. Because here's the thing. I think that if every red that we meet,
another red.
yeah, if every red we meet is Black Aja, it just kind of becomes a little bit boring.
Yeah, I agree.
Because I already found the Leandrin reveal not to be like. It didn't just... It was fine. Like, I'm not against it. I don't think it was a bad choice. I just think it didn't... I wasn't like, what? I was like, oh, yeah, that makes sense. You were sitting next to me. I was like, oh, yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
And so I think that if it was like every red we meet just becomes a Black Aja, I think that kind of becomes... that's fine. But, like, that's just not my favorite kind of storytelling.
I don't think that's going to happen, for sure.
CJ, thank you so much for that. Sanderson's favorite D&D character would be Matt's dad. Like the show version or the book version? They're very different.
Yeah, I was like, are we talking about the drunk guy, or are we talking about like...
Does Sanderson just play drunk philanderers? Is that his like D&D build? I would love...
That is a fun build.
Love to
The
play
way of the
Dungeons and
drunken-
Dragons with Brandon Sanderson. Do you think if... Okay. If we were to do a live play podcast thing, do you think we could get him to guest into it? If we got the Dusty Wheel on board, we call Daniel Green up. We're like, Daniel Green, hey, we know you have no idea who we are, but we need Brandon Sanderson's number.
Yeah. I believe.
We will get Brandon Sanderson to... We'll get him to play Bale Doman, and he'll be our ship captain. And he'll come in and be all judgmental of our storytelling because he's a freaking genius.
Somebody clip this, please.
And send it to him.
Yeah,
if anyone has his phone number, if any of you guys gave at like the $500 tier at his Kickstarter, maybe you can. He might give you. His phone
maybe you
number
can
for that.
message him. Yeah, yeah. If any of you guys got in on that Kickstarter,
I would also love if he came on and he was like, "So you've read my books?" And we're like, "No, not a one."
Sorry, we're getting there. There's a list. You're on the list, but like.
Oh yeah. The Cosmere's on the list, but the Cosmere scares me. The Cosmere scares me more than Wheel of Time does. At least Wheel of Time is one thing. Cosmere is like 19 different series that all intersect. Like, I don't know how his brain works. All right. Any final questions? We're at the end here.
Yeah. Was there anything we mostly answered questions throughout this
we
whole
haven't,
thing.
you know what we haven't done?
What?
High-low of the entire book. For those of you who don't know, the way that we do high-low here is it's based on my family's dinner table where at the end of the day, we would share our high of the day so we could celebrate each other's highs and share each other's lows so that we could commiserate with each other over the things that are tough in life, you know? My family's got to be there for all of it. And so we always do Ariel's high first, and Clarissa's high first, then my low, and then Clarissa's low, and then my high so that we do that compliment sandwich with the tough stuff in the middle. So what's your high?
Tough stuff in the middle. My high for the entire book is really, really hard.
Best moment.
Because, like, there is legitimately so much that happens in this one. I think my high for the entire book, the thing that, like, sticks out to me the most and that I am most excited for that I really hope they put into the show is Nynaeve's trial.
Yeah. Oh, you cannot cut that.
Yeah.
Expensive. That's going to be a tough... The thing is, they either are going to do that or the flicker. They can't do both.
I know, and that's my problem, because I love those moments, and like...
But some of the flicker stuff happens in the same location as Nynaeve's... the parts of... Because going back to Emond's Field happens in both, and they have the set, right? They said that they spent a lot of money building that set, so maybe they already have the sets built for those. That might be easier.
Yeah, okay, maybe. Yeah, I don't know. It's weird because, like, reading it, I don't think I was like, this is my favorite part of the book. But it's the part that I've been thinking the most about.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm going to say that that's my high.
All right. I like it. Yeah. My low is not the writing of it, but the experience of reading the Adam scenes. It just got to me. I didn't enjoy it. And
it was hard to read.
I struggled with it. And I think it's good storytelling, and I think that where the story ends up was great. But I definitely think my low for the book was going through what Egwene went through with her. I feel like I feel my character's pain strongly when I read.
Yeah,
and that was a tough one for me.
It was rough.
Yeah.
Chat. Feel free to share your high lows as well. I think my low was the scene with the Aiel spear.
Yeah.
Spear. What are they called?
Maidens of the Spear.
Maidens. I was like, spear women. I was like, that is not it at all. That I did not like that scene.
Mm-hmm.
Felt weird. Definitely felt clunky. My low for the book for sure. But not the setting. There was so much other stuff in the setting.
Sofa was cool, yeah.
It was just that little part of it. And what's your high?
It's very tough. Mm-hmm. Lots of great stuff in this. I think my high is probably... Wow. I think my high of the entire book, I'm stalling.
I know it's tough. There's a lot of really cool stuff in this book. And there's so much that happens at the end.
Yeah. And I'm trying to remember the beginning, right? Because there's so much good stuff at the beginning that was just so long ago now. Honestly, I think it was really Rand and Baalzamon's fight in the sky. It was just the way it played out, mm-hmm. and it leaned into like sword combat and talking about sword combat in a way that I nerd out over. It's ever since I studied it a little bit, and so yeah, I think Baalzamon and Rand's fight and just the concept of this mythic battle in the sky actively affecting the battle on the ground, I really, really enjoyed. Yeah. And I had a lot of fun with that. Mm-hmm. So I would definitely say that. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Also, the fact that it was that there were, because I was wondering, why is Robert Jordan making such a big deal out of these people drawing on the ground? It seemed like he was making fun of artists because he kept bringing them up, but he was bringing them up over and over again because when the battle happens, you had to understand that there were the sketch artists that want to charge you $50 to quick sketch you in Times Square. They were ready to draw the battle, and bringing it back, Moiraine unraveling a poster of the rumble in the jungle between him and Baalzamon. I was like, this is such a funny, you seeded this, you let me know this was coming. It was like when I talked about the Min running into
Rand?
No, Min running into Nynaeve and Elaine. And I was like, this is how you do foreshadowing. You foreshadow that these two characters have to run into each other because they are logically in the same place. Mm-hmm. The way he foreshadowed the poster unveil at the end with the drawing, through the mentions of these street characters that were so desperate for money, I was like, this is such a good in-universe way to explain this.
Yeah.
And I just, I really loved everything about that. I thought the end of this book is really fun. It's a great ending. And so I do love that.
100%. CJ Clark, thank you so much for that super chat.
It always made sense that Reds are more likely to be black since they don't have a warder.
I don't know. I just think that that's boring.
Yeah, it just gets to the point where it's
where it's just oh yeah, those are the evil ones, and it's their belief system has to be complicated for it to for it to have any sway or weight. And so I want to know more about the different Aja colors moving forward.
Dovey,
thank you.
Dovey, Andy, Satovia, Sagane. I butchered that.
You nailed it.
Excited to get my shirt and forgot to tip. You do not have to tip on the shirt. You bought the shirt.
Thank you.
But thank you. We appreciate
that
it.
Is
also,
very,
if you want your Narc Smart shirt, go buy
Narc
it.
Smart, yes.
We're waiting on ours, but once we have ours, we'll wear them on the stream and we'll be like Narc Smart.
Yeah. We're gonna get some.
CJ Clark's a little bit behind, but they said their favorite D&D is Matt's dad. I don't understand. I feel like I need to go back and reread the beginning of the first book because I don't know what there is to play in Matt's dad. But
yeah, he's barely in it, so
I feel like that means Robert Jordan doesn't like to play combat. He wants to play a regular dude in D&D.
I don't know.
Dakuna and Ellen are on top of it. They're ba-boom.
Guys, thank you. For reals. Appreciate it a lot.
Dragon's Bane, thank you for that super chat.
Thank you for the super chat.
Please don't be intimidated by how much RJ jumps around in his books. Think of him weaving a master tapestry, and there are times when major threads are in very different places. Finished product, amazing.
Yeah.
I think that's why the second book doesn't work as well for me, is because it is part of a bigger story. I think that the second book will click into place for me once I know the bigger story.
Yeah, I
But-
feel like we touched on that at the beginning.
Yeah, we did talk about that earlier, but I really believe that. I think that like
Agreed.
the first book is easier to read on its own, whereas I think the second book is so tied into things that are coming that you don't really get why things are important until you see them come.
Okay. Yeah. See. Yeah. I think that this is gonna be controversial. Robert Jordan actually does a really great job of like jumping around. I could not read Game of Thrones. I tried to read the first 2 books, and I found very difficult. But I think that Robert Jordan really does it well because all the things there's foreshadowing, things tie into one another, and you get a good sense of like who the character is, which like that I'm loving these books. I'm loving them. Could not.
That's not a
Game of
controversial
Thrones-
take anymore. It was a controversial take in like season 4. I'm the one with the controversial
Season
take.
4. No, the show. I like the Game of Thrones show.
No, but it was a controversial
Books.
take when season 4 was airing to be like, I couldn't get through the books when Game of Thrones fever was hot. Now that Game of Thrones season 8 came out and you're like, I couldn't read them, people are like, yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, I've been saying that since the beginning, and I feel like more people agree with me now than they did like whatever that I was like 8 years ago that I read them.
I haven't read a Game of Thrones book in a long time.
I read the 2 and I couldn't do anymore.
The last time I read all of the Game of Thrones book was when Dances with Dragons came out, which I think was in 2015.
Yeah.
But I started reading them when I was so young that I'm just so used to Game of Thrones because I read them when I was like 7.
Yeah. My ADHD cannot. Like, literally, like, when I read books, I have to hyperfocus. Basically, when we read these chunks, I read them in, like, 1 or 2 sittings, for the most part. I just retain information a whole lot better, and Robert Jordan does it well. And I think that, yeah, this book is going to, like, slot into the puzzle in a really amazing way.
Dances with Dragons with 2011?
You okay?
I'm so old.
I'm sorry.
Getting old. Kids. Oh yeah, I read them in college. That makes sense. Oh my god.
I'm so sorry.
Yeah, I reread them leading up to Dance with Dragons release, and then I was gonna do it again for the next book, but that's not gonna happen.
Yeah,
The librarian who handed you A Song of Ice and Fire at 7 should be shot. No, I appreciated him. I really loved those books when I was a kid. They meant a lot to me, J-Rock.
There's a lot in those books though that I would not give. But then again, one of my teachers gave me True Blood, so
Yeah, I really liked it. I liked reading those as a kid.
I get that.
But I also was watching Buffy. Like the content. My parents never censored the content that I watched as growing up. Like there's nothing I wasn't allowed to watch. I watched R-rated movies. You know what I mean? Like I watched horror movies when I was really young. Like my parents were never interested in like censoring that stuff. They wanted to watch it with me to make sure they could talk with me about it, right? But I never had a problem. I was always watching shit, and I turned out okay, I think.
Yeah, my parents had weird arbitrary lines for things that I couldn't watch. Like violence and like even like sexy stuff was like fine, but like I wasn't allowed to watch Pokemon or Sailor Moon.
Or like adult humor. You weren't allowed to watch Simpsons.
Yeah, I wasn't allowed to watch adult funny stuff, but I was allowed to watch like adult things. I
don't know.
Never understood that one.
I appreciated. I walked in and I was like, hey, I want something that's like Lord of the Rings, and Game of Thrones to me was like Lord of the Rings in terms of like
I get that.
how dense it was.
Yeah. It's literally just a
It's
whole whack of information.
And now that I don't think it's ever gonna end, I feel like I wasted so much time reading those books.
Yeah.
If he puts out the final books, I will read them. I'm excited to see how he ends it. But like, if he never puts out those books, I'm gonna feel so cheated out of like hours and hours of my childhood devouring Game of Thrones.
Yeah. We have a final segment.
Yeah, we do. Where would you add sex scenes?
Favorite.
It's the smut corner. It's the Pornhub of
the Pornhub of the Wheel of Time. Where would you like to see some people bone down?
I feel like we haven't seen Bail Doman really have the chance to sow some seeds, and I feel like he's the kind of guy who would enjoy a harbor wench. So I would have liked that. You know what I mean?
Sure.
Yeah.
He just like gets a moment to like relax because he's like been through some shit.
Bail Doman and his wenches, for sure.
Bail Doman is the Podrick of this universe. Confirmed. Ship captain has got a dick on him. Confirmed. That's.
It's just a tattoo.
Now.
It's just a tattoo of a penis. His crew tattooed it on him when he got too drunk one night.
He fell asleep. They passed out and he passed out and they tattooed it on him.
Yeah, the Dark Friend Social Eyes Wide Shut is fun. As long as the people who are like brain dead aren't a part of it, because that just feels weird.
Yeah. They're just there holding refreshments for the people who need it.
Honestly, y'all, like the Aes Sedai Tower, the sapphic behind the scenes of the Aes Sedai Tower would make for many specials on woodrocket.com.
Okay, they probably have they probably have like the craziest like 1-power sex toys.
Oh, can you imagine?
You know what I mean? Like
well, and apparently there was something about how there was a Rosamund Pike was talking about how she was trying not to make the rod in the scene look like a cock when she's holding it for the oath. She's like... And I'm just like, can you imagine, like, you have these devices that you make oaths on that happen to be, like, super phallic? Like, wildly phallic devices.
Yeah. It's a rod.
Do you think that they use the 1-power to make vibrators?
Oh, yeah, 100%.
What do their warders think in those moments?
Well, maybe they, like, shut off their warders for, like, 5 minutes. They're like, I just need a second. Or maybe the warders, maybe, like, maybe it's, like, a whole nother level of, like, voyeurism. You know what I mean? And, like,
well, the Greens just have sex with their warders, right?
Sure.
Yeah.
But, like, you know, like... Hey, people are kinky, and so maybe like some of the warders, like how they get off is that like voyeuristic experience, you know?
Yeah. Watch the World says Aes Sedai can manipulate air. They don't need toys. I understand what you're saying, but then I'm willing to bet you haven't experimented enough with toys if you don't know how good they can be.
Yeah.
There's a lot of fun there.
Yeah.
A lot of fun there.
Yeah. Oh yeah. There's so much you can do. Here's the thing.
I think Rand and Celine, like there's gonna be some, the Rand and Celine of it all's fun.
So that's mine.
Loyal and the Ogier lady in the woods.
They need to get together. They were super cute. But
do you think they call it like bumping eyebrows? Just because they're like.
No, that.
Do you think Ogier are like
mind.
in missionary and they like finish and then they're like lying on top of each other and then they have to untangle their eyebrows from each other because they just get a little matted? Do you think? Okay, real question. Calm down. Please stop laughing. Calm down. This is a serious podcast.
You're right. We're only serious.
Loyal says that Ogiers do everything really slow. Do you think that like Ogier, when they're steading in the steading, do you think that it just goes on for like? Do you think it's like they have to book a day off? They have to tell everyone like, hey y'all, it's gonna be our steading day on Saturday, so like if you could just like not come near the hut. There will be noises. There will be events.
Yeah. There's like a spot that you go to where it's like, don't go over here. They're taking their time. I want to know.
Can you show me?
I want to know.
I want to know about the strangers like me.
I want to know what Loyal's Sungwood can do.
He's just singing just singing. thighs to cheeks. He's just like tree singing right down there.
Yeah, why not?
I mean, that's one way to DP someone. Get the tree to help. That's a weird threesome. It's a weird...
It's you guys in nature.
Oh my god, pegging in the steading.
That is definitely a porno, I'm sure.
Well, yeah, especially it's the matriarchal structure of the relationships in the Ogier. Like, you never know.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Well, this has been fun.
Wait, no. Mine is definitely
go.
that Celine has got some stuff to teach Rand. I believe that. I want that to happen for Rand. I don't want Rand to like fall in love with Celine. She's bad news bears, but she's like that girl. She's that experience you have in college where you're like, I learned a lot from this.
Do you think that Rand can handle that, or should he get some lessons from the girl that Tom wanted him to get some lessons from first, and then like
the noblewoman in
like the noblewoman in Kyrian is like the like 101 class, and then like he like skips 201 and goes right to 301, which is Lanfear.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, he's gonna need to. He's gonna need to work up to that one. But I think he's got some, because he's got a big job ahead of him. He's got 3 women that he's got to please in the future, and so he needs to learn those tips and tricks. Otherwise, it's gonna be really time consuming.
Do you think that? Do you think like Tam taught him how to track, how to hunt, how to find things in the woods? Mm-hmm. Do you think that Rand knows how to find the clitoris?
I only hope so for Egwene and Min and Elaine's sake.
On that note, the reason we do Smut Corner at the end is because I know some people like to leave for this part.
Yeah.
And I understand why. That was a mess. Thank you so much for watching. This was another fun episode of the Nerdy Wordy Book Club. Next week, we should have said this before everyone left.
We should have said this before, yeah.
Next week, The Dragon Reborn chapters prologue through chapter 15.
Yep.
Read to the end of chapter 15 and no further. That's what we've decided, right? No one argued with that.
No one argued with that. No, I think that's, yeah.
Yeah, so we're going to the end of chapter 15 next Friday, 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. It'll probably be a 2.5-hour show because that seems to be what this show ended up being.
Where we fall.
We've made 20 hours of this content already.
We are also selling Narg Smart t-shirts.
Yeah, go to our Fourth Wall shop.
Please check that out. We've been really enjoying Fourth Wall. There's going to be some new stuff, I'm sure, dropping on there shortly. What else? What else is
Follow
there?
us around the internet. I'm over at Twitch. I've been playing a lot of Elden Ring lately and doing a great little run in Pokemon Black 2 right now for my Hardcore Nuzlocke, so come check that out. Having a lot of fun. You never know when I might start just streaming and playing Elden Ring, so give me a follow so that you get that notification.
I do have an episode, my next episode of my Horizon Zero Dawn Let's Play is going to be going live later today. So that'll be fun. Come check that out.
For that.
You can join the Discord if you want more Wheel of Time stuff. It is divided into the normal section and then the spoilers section.
Yes,
so
please no spoilers.
No spoilers for for where we've read up until.
In the regular Wheel of Time.
In the regular way. Yeah, anything past where we're reading right now, please keep that in the spoiler section and make it easier on our wonderful mods.
Yes, huge thank you to our mods. And for the last time, I just want to remind you all, if our mods say no, it's a no. Yeah. We trust them implicitly.
The mods are gods.
There's a reason there are mods. We've known them for a while. So thank you to them. You guys are the best. And to everyone else, you're the best for watching this, for sitting through our nonsense. I don't understand why you do it, but I'm eternally grateful that you continue to.
Yes.
And yeah, we'll see you next week.
Yeah.
Or every other day on the internet, because we're chronically online.
I'm also on Twitch. You can come and hang out. We're around a lot.
We are chronically online.
And we're pretty cool. Some of you guys have come over and checked out our Twitch, so I feel like.
Yeah, Dakuna wants to know, is it okay to chat Wheel of Time in y'all streams? Absolutely. Talk Wheel of Time in the streams, just not past where we've read up to.
God, yeah. No spoilers for sure, but come and hang out and talk Wheel of Time because we love it. For reals. Thanks for being here.
Do something nerdy.